हे एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय चैनल फील जितेश। मैं आज आप लोगों के लिए पॉलिटी के लेक्चर्स बहुत ही फेमस कोचिंग के अपलोड कर रहा हूँ। प्लीज़ कोई स्ट्राइक कोई कंप्लेन मत कीजिएगा, ये सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए हैं जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते हैं। मैं पहले ही माफ़ी मांग रहा हूँ, बाद में आप लोग ये मत कहिएगा कि आप चोरी कर रहे हो, ऐसा कर रहे हो, वैसा करो। देखिए, मेरे को भी कहीं से मिले तो मुझे लगा कि उन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए डाल दिए जाएँ जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। मैं भी उनमें से ही हूँ एक। मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप लोग इसका भरपूर इस्तेमाल करें, अच्छे से पढ़ें। दीज आर दी बेस्ट लेक्चर्स एंड मैं भी इससे पढ़ रहा हूँ, आप लोग भी इससे पढ़ो। एंड कोशिश करूँगा जल्द से जल्द सारे लेक्चर्स डाल दूँ। तो प्लीज़ अच्छे से पढ़िए। अब सही समय है सही से तैयारी करने का, तो अच्छे से तैयारी करिए। चलिए, आई होप यू विल लव दी लेक्चर्स। प्लीज़ लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब माई चैनल।
Today we are going to start governance part also. But then before that, let me finish a very small topic called as fundamental duties. उसके बाद governance शुरू करेंगे, right? And governance requires a different way of studying also. उसका style अलग है. I wanted to take this later, but then I was told that you have this in test. ठीक है सर, पेपर लीक है ये. हाउ वाज द टेस्ट इन द मॉर्निंग? फाइन. बहुत इजी था. नहीं, इजी तो था, बट देन कुड यू एक्चुअली गेट द राइट आंसर? वो है, दैट इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट. Many questions are subject to interpretation, okay? Because in the other batch, even the students who were very, serious students, they found some questions very ambiguous. And this is not a problem with the question itself. This is the way UPSC asks the question. है कि नहीं है? Ambiguity is part of civil services prelims. तभी तो pre मुश्किल है. वरना अगर रट्टा ही लगाना है, then there are n number of people. They can mug and they can write down, or they can just put tick, है ना? It requires a kind of critical thinking also. Everything appears to be true and you have to choose the best. इसीलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ, please do not just take the test. Match with answer key also. And if you find that there is something that needs to be discussed, you are free to do that. Anything which you feel like, Hanji.
There is a question about federal system. We have to attend answer according to Indian federal system.
Indian federal system, if the question, देखो सुनो, if the context of the question is such that you feel that he is asking in context of India.
So like written constitution was given in 3 or 4 questions.
आपको ये पता है, in no federal constitution there can be unwritten constitution. Okay, so there is no question of India or America. Federal मतलब federal.
So USA is federal, but they don't have any written constitution.
USA is not having a written constitution. हाँ जी, बताओ सर. हाँ, बहुत बढ़िया. Do you find this answer easy? In case of difference of opinion between executive and legislature, it is easier to implement a particular decision in presidential system. The people who are not able to recall the question, they can open the question and you can take this. आप उसको छोड़ो, मैं आपसे पहले सवाल करता हूं. देखो, प्रेसिडेंशियल सिस्टम मीन्स व्हाट? बेसिक डिफरेंस क्या है प्रेसिडेंशियल और पार्लियामेंट्री में? Presidential system, legislature, executive and judiciary are completely separate. Whereas in parliamentary system, what is the case? Yes, parliamentary system, executive has been taken from legislature only. वो उसी का एक सब पार्ट है. Means whosoever is an executive is legislature first. Legislator पहले है ना वो. देखो, presidential system. This is presidential system, this is parliamentary system. Now see, question ये है, in simple words, let me put this way. The question is that in which case it is easier for executive to implement the laws. By what is the work of executive? To implement the laws. अब executive के मन में एक बात आई. The executive has got this feeling that if we do something, that will be in the interest of this country. जैसे कि I give you example. It happened in America. President Obama, He wanted to ban the easy sale of guns in America. Guns मतलब बंदूक. उन्होंने बोला guns are so easily available in America that anybody can buy it. It's a kind of fundamental right for them to buy the gun. नहीं truly. और उसके बाद these children are taking these guns to school. They settle their score then and there. वो dangerous है. So he was feeling that violence is becoming part of of American culture because of easy sale of gun. So we should put a ban on easy availability of gun. There should be a proper way by which gun is provided to anybody. वो चाहते थे कि कानून बने so that governance of America can be improved. He called upon the legislature. यार एक कानून बनाओ. I will implement it and this will be in the interest of the country and children. Gun चला रहे हैं वो आजकल. Legislature said no. Guns should be given to everybody. It is their right. कल को घर में चूहा घुस गया. How will you defend yourself? Gun only. And it is said there is a lobby behind it. Gun making lobby or arms lobby is very strong, powerful, and having money and muscle. They prevented this to happen. And executive was, because law making was a job of only legislature. He could not do anything on that, and he was found to be very helpless. And he said this is a black page in America's governance history. We could not make a law, and since they did not make the law, how could I implement it? ठीक है ना? It was difficult for him to implement a decision. आप यहां लो. एक विचार मोदी जी के दिमाग में आया. He got a kind of a new idea that for this country governance, this should be done, and for that a law is to be made. Can anybody stop him? Very difficult. If he wants, if the prime minister, executive, by PM क्या है? He is the head of executive. If the PM has got an idea and he feels to execute my idea, I need a law, then he will himself ensure that law is made by legislature, because legislature में majority में कौन है? Executive. Executive तो खुद majority में है legislature के अंदर. भाई more than 50% people here are from government or not? Even if they are not part of executive, they are part of government. MPs तो हैं और ruling party के, तो वो तो हाथ खड़ा ही कर देंगे when a law is to be made. Thankfully there is a provision of Rajya Sabha also, but that's a unnecessary detailing. I need not take it here. Means it is easier for executive in parliamentary system to get a law made by legislature. वो उनसे कानून बनवा लेंगे और कानून बन गया तो इंप्लीमेंट भी हो पाएगा. You take this case, executive in the country, they wanted to give Aadhaar number to everybody. सबको आधार नंबर मिले. They brought Aadhaar bill. Now they knew, government को ये बात पता थी that we don't have majority in Rajya Sabha. The Aadhaar bill may not get passed there. So what they did, they converted Aadhaar bill into a money bill. Now in money bill, Lok Sabha only requires to give accent, which they got from Lok Sabha because they were in majority in Lok Sabha. पास करवा दिया उसको आराम से. Means intentions of executive are not hindered in parliamentary system because they themselves are part of legislature and that too in majority. But this is not the case here in presidential system. So decision making कहाँ easy है? Parliamentary system.
But laws will be made by the legislature only.
हाँ.
How does it affect in that case if the legislature
Legislature यही तो मैंने आपको बताया. It is difficult.
legislature only proceeded. They only want, right? They wanted the gun laws to be lax.
ऐसा नहीं है. Proposal can be brought by anybody. President could actually propose. He can ask.
Pass legislature ही करेगा ना.
वही तो बता रहा हूँ. पास तो legislature करेगा.
In the first case, it is completely separate. उसका तो there is no like hindrance by the executive. It is only after the legislature what he has to do.
तो कहना क्या चाह रहे हो? ये बताओ मुझे conclusion.
First case,
बोलो.
legislature can also मतलब जो B option है second only that legislature can pass the law without any hindrance from the executive.
यही तो बता रहा हूँ यार मैं आपको.
But sir, in the presidential system it is more easy. मैं ये कह रहा हूँ.
यही तो मैं आपको बता रहा हूं. आप अनलेस यू गिव मी अ चांस टू स्पीक हाउ विल आई एक्सप्लेन. एक बात यहां बैठ गई बस उसको सुनना नहीं है कुछ और. अरे मेरी भी तो सुनो. हियर आई वांट टू टेल यू दैट हियर इफ देयर इज अ काइंड ऑफ डिसएग्रीमेंट बिटवीन एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड लेजिस्लेचर देन एग्जीक्यूटिव कैन बी फाउंड टू बी हेल्पलेस. यही मैंने आपको अभी बताया और यही क्वेश्चन में भी लिखा हुआ है. बोलो सर. नहीं सुनो. आई एम नॉट डिस्कसिंग समथिंग वेरी जनरल. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस क्वेश्चन पर्टिकुलरली. अरे यार सुनो, ही ऑल्सो हैज अ जेन्युइन क्वेश्चन, सुन लो उनकी बात भी. हाँ तेज बोलो तुम. नो नो नो, इन दैट केस एग्जीक्यूटिव इज नॉट कंप्लीटली हेल्पलेस. सुनो मेरी बात, पहली बात तो कंप्लीट वर्ड नहीं यूज करना चाहिए, बिकॉज हियर इफ लेजिस्लेचर इज ब्रिंगिंग अ लॉ, देन इन सम स्पेशल सर्कमस्टांसेस एग्जीक्यूटिव कैन वीटो दैट. प्रेसिडेंट के पास वीटो पावर भी है, सो ही कैन ब्लॉक अ लेजिस्लेशन. सुन रहे हो? ही कैन ब्लॉक अ लॉ, हाउएवर ही कैनॉट इंसिस्ट द लॉ मेकिंग बॉडी टू मेक दिस लॉ. You एक बात सुनो, you are the ship of this captain. Will you not in any condition want that specific law to be made? चाहोगे ना आप? Because if this law is made, that will make my work easier. है कि नहीं है? But sometime when you go to the law making body, they will refuse. No, no, we will not give you this law. Will it not hinder your work? But this is not the case here in parliamentary. Here the ship of the captain, which is the prime minister, whenever he wants, he can ask the legislature, you make this law, and in most of the cases, if not all, it is easier for him to get a law passed by the legislature.
But sir, in view of the question,
बोलो. Yes. No, no, no. That's what I told you. It is easier in most of the cases, if not all. And those very few cases are the cases where Rajya Sabha has equal powers. And in that case also, they can make it a money bill and get it passed, as it happened in Aadhaar bill. Abhi, this I gave you the example or not? Aadhaar bill. It was very difficult for government to get the Aadhaar bill passed, but they converted to money bill. In money bill, Rajya Sabha has no say. So ultimately, executive has more say or not in parliamentary system regarding the governance, because governance requires law making as well as law implementation. Law implementation तो उन्हीं करना है executive को, and regarding law making also they can influence the legislature. This was the idea behind this question. Dispute redressal mechanism is the mechanism or a way by which a dispute can be solved. जैसे पंचायत was a kind of dispute redressal mechanism in ancient times. Whenever people of the village had some problem, they went to पंचायत, वो decision सुनाते थे, कहानी खत्म. Now tribunals. Yes, tribunals are dispute redressal mechanism in specific areas only. जैसे नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल. अरे यार, give some weightage and respect to others also. If he is asking a question, this information will help you also. उनसे बात करना बाद में. That's your fundamental right, no? Speech and expression. But then hold it for some time. NGT है ना, National Green Tribunal. What it does? Is it not a kind of dispute redressal mechanism? है कि नहीं है? But then only in specific area of environment. कोर्ट्स की जो jurisdiction है वो बड़ी होती है. ट्रिब्यूनल की स्पेसिफिक, I'll take this specifically, don't worry. Delegated legislation वो गवर्नेंस का पार्ट है. ठीक है? हाँ जी. See, that is only a kind of interpretation. है ना? People can say rule of law is part of federal system, because unless you give importance to rule of law, how can center and states remain within the limits? बिल्कुल, I agree with you. But then tell me one thing, didn't we discuss rule of law? पूछा था, did I not dictate you rule of law? Principles बताया था ना मैंने आपको, rule of law principles. And we discuss rule of law कब discuss किया था हमने? 14 में, article 14, right to equality में. We discussed that or not? है ना? Rule of law, we discussed that there, because the purpose of rule of law was that to ensure that no man becomes above the law. Okay, that way we interpreted it. We did not see that in the context of federal arrangement. इसलिए उन्होंने आपसे क्वेश्चन बना दिया, though it is open to interpretation. Had I been there, I would have also marked it. Okay, I'll discuss this particular question with the people who said this question. ठीक है ना? देखो बात ये होती है, in UPSC some questions are open to interpretation. You can be right on that, I may be right on that, because if you see after the prelims, you look for answer keys. Every institute will come out with answer keys, and 3-4 questions what they will give you as answer, पता नहीं. UPSC जो आंसर देगा, that will be the answer, because according to us, A is also correct or B is also correct. People can contest on the issue. Okay. But in this case, the answer is clear. Parliamentary presidential. My dear, leave the answer if you have that facility. मैंने आपको बताया था उस दिन भी, in civil services, 100 questions you get. Out of 100 questions, how many questions you'll be sure about the answers? Hardly 5-6 questions. Believe me, आप करके देखना. Not 2015 question. You take up any other question, 2013, 14, 15 में थोड़ा easy था. 13, 14, 12, 11. The questions will be such that you will be in a position to answer only 5, 6 or 7 questions with 100% conviction. ये I know कि ये answer है. For example, he will ask you H1N1 is what? You know this. And even in that somebody might commit mistake. कोई बात नहीं. But then the remaining questions, you have to choose the best option or options using the kind of application of the data or application of the information which you had with you. अभी मैं आपसे ये डिस्कस करूंगा how these things can be seen in different lines. एक ही चीज. अब आप ये बताओ, फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज है. मैं आपसे ये बात पूछता हूं, फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज आर दे एक्चुअली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द गवर्नेंस ऑफ दिस कंट्री? अब क्या जवाब दोगे? यस और नो? अब देखो, हियर ऑल्सो यू कैन हैव टू स्कूल ऑफ थॉट्स. एक स्कूल ऑफ थॉट बोलता है यू नो फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज और नॉट. फॉर द पीपल हु डू नॉट नो, लिसन. Which part of the constitution? When you see this A, B, C coming up, no, as parts, it means it is a kind of amendment to the constitution. Originally ऐसा नहीं था. 4A, this A, that A, 21A. These were brought by amendment. है ना? Fundamental duties were not there when we made the constitution. They were inserted later. When were the fundamental duties made part of the constitution? बताओ. (42nd Amendment Act 1976 we brought fundamental duties as part of the constitution. उससे पहले ये चीज नहीं थी. And why do you think that this fundamental duty chapter was brought? कोई तो लॉजिक होगा. आपसे पूछता हूं, टेल मी, जस्ट मेंशन 3 फंडामेंटल. कितनी है टोटल? 11. एनी 3, नॉट एग्जैक्ट वर्ड टू वर्ड, द स्पिरिट ऑफ देम. कोई भी 3. हाँ जी बताओ. 3. हाँ हाँ. और now you yes, you yourself see, I asked only 3 fundamental duties and it became very difficult for you to answer. Some could answer only 1, some 2, some none, some could answer 3rd but with some difficulty. So what is the purpose? सिर्फ 11 ही तो है. The fundamental duties were inserted in the constitution by Srimati Indira Gandhi. She thought that it will put a kind of moral pressure on people. अब आप देखो, for example, if I put a poster here, please maintain silence, will it not, कभी तो नजर जाएगी उसके ऊपर? Will it not we act like a communication to you and you will start behaving that way? अब why I write these words? Because in between, if you see them, this will create a kind of sense in you. Let's be joyous when we prepare. Should not put unnecessary burden on us. है कि नहीं है? इसलिए fundamental duty डाली गई थी. Fundamental duty means, listen, do not write. Fundamental duties means people have rights. अधिकार तो है. But by 1976, the government understood one thing, that Indians will be Indians. भाई Indians तो Indians ही रहेंगे. But there is a spirit behind being an Indian. वो ये है that people read the chapter of fundamental rights. ये सबको पता है कि fundamental right नाम की कोई चीज है. But many must not be aware that there is also another chapter called as fundamental duties. You go to Japan, there was a famous incident where a famous saint from this country, he went to Japan and he was traveling through a train. A seat was torn in front of him. Train की एक seat फटी हुई थी. A little girl she came with a needle to sew that particular seat. And she told this saint that do not please discuss this thing when you go to your country, that you found such a torn seat in Japan. आप जाके किसी को मत बोलना कि जापान में ट्रेन की सीट फटी हुई थी, लो देखो मैंने इसको सिल दिया. Take this case here in India. What will be the case? If somebody is traveling, you are also traveling, you will see that torn seat, he will also see. आप बोलोगे देखो अभी एक फन दिखाता हूं, you will torn it further. It will create a kind of noise, char, kind of entertainment for you and the person who is traveling. No. Duty, the sense of duty is seen missing here in India. ये problem है. This is also true that when tsunami struck in Japan, Fukushima disaster, electricity was cut in major parts of Japan for many days. Bijli to thi nahi. Water was also not being supplied. Then it was said in every magazine it was given that people even at the age of 80 or 85, they were standing in queue waiting for their turn to get water. पानी आने का इंतजार कर रहे थे because they were giving 2 bottles to everyone. They were waiting patiently for hours. 3-3 घंटे लोगों ने इंतजार किया, इतनी लंबी लाइन थी, and they did not create a kind of panic. And they waited for their turn to get 2 bottles of water, even when you are 80 years old. Take the case of India. एक बार आने तो दो bottle को. Somebody might hijack the truck itself and it will take to your home. खत्म कहानी. No line. Because we feel that our interest and the interest of our family is above everything. Nation comes later. Nation तो तब आता है जब on 15th August we have to share these messages. This is true. Largely this is true. If not, it is true completely. Soldiers are exception. And other people also, but this is what is seen largely. ये मेरा कहने का मतलब है. Indira Gandhi understood this fact that people want to enjoy rights, but they do not want to be limited by any rule. She felt that we have limited the rights of people by putting conditions with fundamental rights. भाई हमने rights दिए हैं. For example, right is Article 19 1A. What is Article 19 1A? Freedom of speech and expression. Now, don't you have a limitation on your speech and expression? Yes, you cannot say anything which you feel like. You have to respect other sentiments. अब ये limitation is okay, but then you ignore the limitation. You want to express yourself to the best possible. She knew this, so she wanted to introduce a very crisp chapter in the Constitution so that people must be made aware that not only they have fundamental rights to enjoy life, they also have some obligation towards state. And that obligation, if it is made too long, people will get confused. So they only introduce a very small portion in the Constitution, and they put only how many fundamental duties? 10. Initially they introduced only 10 fundamental duties. But I myself remember that when I was in school, I could actually mug all these 10 fundamental duties. We were made to remember them. Force किया जाता, इसको रट्टा लगाओ. Not for the sake of getting marks, so that we can become a better citizen in the times to come. तो इसलिए उन्होंने 10 डाली, so that it can be reminded to you that you are citizen of this country. Maintain some responsibility towards the state. Do not just think about yourself. Now, in socialist countries, do you feel that these fundamental duties will be there or absent? Socialist में तो these will be very much found, because in socialist country, regulation of people or society is the core of socialism. She is rich, she is earning so much, I take money from her, give excess, which is access beyond your needs, and I'll give that money to him who is poor. And I'll keep her reminding that this is your duty not to earn more than your requirement. ये इनको मैं याद दिलाता रहूंगा because this is a socialist setup. तो इसलिए in socialist country you will find fundamental duties. Socialist setup puts a kind of pressure on people to be in the limits. In democratic countries like America, France, Germany, Britain, they have this kind of flexibility where they say that, okay, let's keep everything open. If you can earn, earn. If you are not in a position to earn, ठीक है, we'll give you some support. This kind of openness actually did not cause them to think that we should put this kind of moral obligation of people in the form of duties. Isliye, if you see, most of the Western democratic countries, they do not have something called as fundamental duties. But in socialist countries, you have, whether it is China, it is Russia or North Korea, you have these kind of duties mentioned in the constitution, where they ask people, this is your duty. If we are at war with some other country, you are supposed to come as a soldier till we lose the last soldier. वहां पे कभी कभी they can make this military training compulsory. Fundamental duty है. You have a duty to save this particular country. And they keep telling them. India is one of the few democratic countries which has these kind of fundamental duties. From which country we do not say Japan, it is USSR. USSR से लिए है. Though Japan is also having it. Understand, sir? Now see, question can come in different forms. For example, if this question comes in prelims, he might ask you, because of which committee we got fundamental duties, or Swan Singh committee, I'll write that, and how many fundamental duties were there in the beginning, so and so. Or he can make an analytical question on that. Tomorrow's test might have a question on this, fundamental duties. ठीक है? Mains में it can happen that he may ask you to write all the fundamental duties. वो बोलेगा write down all the 11 fundamental duties. Do not get startled. अरे यार कौन रट के आएगा? No, they can ask you these things. In one of the mains they asked write all the Ramsar convention sites in India. Wetlands. जितने भी wetland है इंडिया में सबका नाम लिखो. 25, can you remember them? It's very difficult. 26 चलो. And here 11. Mug them up. Okay, write down. ये चीज और समझ लो that it was Swan Singh committee in 1976 which recommended that fundamental duties should be put in the constitution so that people can be made aware of their obligations towards the state and they do not feel that they have this fundamental right to enjoy life without any restriction. उनको ये बात समझ में आनी चाहिए. उससे पहले कौन, I mean before 1976 also, who was the agent which reminded people of their limits? अभी तो चलो fundamental duties है. What to do, what not to do is told to you by fundamental duties. आपकी duties है. Fundamental duties are your duties. Citizens की duty होती है ये. But then before 1976, when Part 4A was inserted, who reminded people of their duties or the limits on their rights? Fundamental rights itself. I told you that fundamental rights, they themselves have these kind of restrictions. That ये आपकी right है, and these are the restrictions on that. So do not cross your limit. I have freedom of speech and expression. The fundamental right chapter itself is telling me you have this right to say anything, but you do not have the right to say anything which can offend others. ये लिखा हुआ है सर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में in part 3. Means before 1976, what will be the limits on the rights of people were mentioned in the part 3 of the constitution. After 1976, what should be the obligation of people or what can be the limit on their rights got mentioned in fundamental duties. और इसका एक दूसरा पर्पस भी है. हाँ जी सर बोलो. Ordinary legislation has to be brought because fundamental duties otherwise have no reason to stay. ये देखो पहले लिखो पहले आप लोग 11 fundamental duties. And which article is discussing fundamental duties? Very good. Article 51A. In this you will have number of sub clauses A, B, C, D, E, F, G, F up to K. K तक है. Article 51A is the general article which discusses fundamental duties. In this, the various fundamental duties are discussed as 51AA. पहली fundamental duty. 51AB, second fundamental duty. 51AC, third fundamental duty, and so on. Article 51A discusses 11 fundamental duties of every citizen. 51AA to abide by the Constitution, to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions. What else is to be respected? Ideals and institutions के अलावा? Very good. National flag and anthem. National flag and anthem को भी respect करना पड़ेगा. There was an issue some months back when a family who went to watch movie in Mumbai. Now it has started here in Delhi also, though earlier ये ऐसा scene नहीं था यहाँ पे. If you go to Maharashtra and you watch a movie, they would play national anthem before the movie begins. Complete family was sitting. They did not get up and it became an issue. You are not honoring the national anthem and it is being played. You should actually stand up in a particular pattern. ठीक है ना sir? Write down. National flag and anthem. 51 AB. AB. 51 AB. To cherish and follow the noble ideals. To cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. Third, 51 AC, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. Unity and integrity of India. Next, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. Next, to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood among all the people, bhaichara, among all the people of India, and renounce the practices. Renounce means to give up, to end, and renounce the practices derogatory, apmanjanak. Renounce the practices derogatory to, excellent, to the dignity of women. Next, to value and preserve the rich heritage. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our culture. You should not write the name of somebody on the walls of monuments. ठीक है? Next, to protect and improve the natural environment. To protect and improve the natural environment and have compassion for living creatures. Should not throw them from the 4th floor of your house. ठीक है? Next, to develop scientific temper. Temper means orientation, kind of thinking. to develop scientific temper, comma, humanism, to develop scientific temper, comma, humanism, and a spirit of inquiry, and reform. Spirit of inquiry and reform. Next, to safeguard public property. To safeguard public property. To safeguard public property. And abjure. Abjure means to refrain from or give up. Abjure violence. And the second last, what is that? Excellence. बहुत बढ़िया. To strive towards, to strive, S-T-R-I-V-E. Strive means कोशिश करना. To strive towards excellence in all spheres. हर क्षेत्र में आगे बढ़ने की कोशिश करो. In all spheres of individual, in all spheres of individual and collective activities. So that the nation constantly rises. So that the nation constantly rises. They can give you a statement and ask you whether this is a fundamental duty or not. पूछ सकते हैं आपसे. Okay. DPSP, this question has come number of times. Which of these is not or are not a part of DPSP? Okay, next. And the last one is this. Article 51A K. 51A K. क्या है 51A K? Yes. Compulsory education of child between age 6 to 14. 6 से 14 साल के बच्चे को स्कूल भेजने की जिम्मेवारी माँ बाप की है. This is nothing but Article 51A. Write down. And brought by which amendment, sir? 86. Very good. Brought by 86th Amendment Act 2002. Excellent. Write down. 11AK, 51AK, introduced by Fundamental Duty 51AK, introduced by 86th Amendment Act. 86th Amendment Act 2002. It is the fundamental duty of every parent. It is the fundamental duty of every parent and guardian. Every parent and guardian to provide opportunity for education to his child or ward, WARD, child or ward, between the age 6 to 14. Between age 6 to 14. आप ये देखो, tell me, now you have written these many fundamental rights. ये तो आपने लिख लिए. Now what can you feel may be the purpose or purposes of introducing these fundamental rights? एक तो मैंने आपको बताया. When I told you that Indira Gandhi government, they had this in mind that people should be made aware of their obligations or zimmewari or responsibility towards state explicitly. So they should be taught this thing in school also. I don't know how many people actually remember. This was a chapter in civics, fundamental duties. अपने आप एक chapter था. एक purpose तो ये था. The purpose of fundamental duties was first to make people aware that these are the responsibilities of the people towards the country. यही तो आपने लिखा है कि जब भी आपको बुलाया जाए सरहदों पे आप जाओगे. ओके. सेकेंड पर्पस ऑफ पुटिंग फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी क्या हो सकता है? एक तो टू पुट अ मॉरल ऑब्लिगेशन ऑन सिटीजन्स. मॉरल प्रेशर बना रहे हैं आपसे. ये फर्स्ट पर्पस. व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज द सेकंड पर्पस? betterment of betterment of betterment of nation. Yes, very good. Second, एंटी सोशल एक्टिविटी, वेरी गुड. और कुछ? Yes, that is also true. Though that restriction has been put in fundamental right itself, है ना, वो भी है. आप ये देखो, when we brought a right, अभी 3-4 years back there was a huge protest in India, in Delhi, and a particular community, they brought so much of damage to public property that government was forced to brought a law that in future, if somebody is involved in public violence and they bring damage to the public property, then they will be identified by videography. Aajkal, if you see, nowadays when you are involved in a protest, no, there are 2-3 policemen who are holding cameras with them and they videograph you. It was done after the law was made that they will be found by this videography, and that the damage, the money will be taken or will be actually compensated by their own resources. वो जो दंगा कर रहे हैं उनसे लिया जाएगा वो नुकसान. This law was brought why? ये लॉ क्यों बनाया गया? Because you had this fundamental duty, अभी आपने लिखा है, to prevent the destruction of public property. This is and to abjure violence. अभी ये आपने लिखा है. What I mean to say is that many times what law is to be made, many times which law is to be made is told to the government by whom? फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज. कौन सा कानून बनाना है, कौन सा नहीं बनाना है, दिस इज गाइडेड बाय फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी ऑल्सो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, दे माइट डिक्लेयर दैट दिस वेटलैंड इज एन इको सेंसिटिव एरिया. यहां पे लोगों का जाना खतरनाक हो सकता है. द ओनली पर्सन दैट कैन एंटर देयर इज क्रोकोडाइल. आप नहीं जा सकते हो वहां पे एज पर द रूल. Why? Because there is a fundamental duty to prevent the environment. Now, if you enter inside the eco-sensitive area, you might damage that also not. You know eco-sensitive areas? But there are few places where you cannot enter. They are so eco-sensitive. Because once you enter, you might actually settle down there and you start economic activity. You might cut the woods or you might kill the animals. वहाँ आपका जाना ही banned है. Now, this law was made why? Because there was a fundamental duty guided by that. Government made this law. Fundamental duty क्या थी? To protect the prevent from cruelty against animals. ये भी अभी आपने लिखा है. Compassion. Government has been revising various laws regarding the way you treat animals. Some time back, dogs could roam on the road freely. After that, they were caught and sometimes culled also by the municipality, killed or culled by the municipality. Then Maneka Gandhi filed a petition that there is a fundamental duty which asks us, because see, that time people were also killing dogs. She filed a complaint that this should not be a practice. You just want to eliminate them as if they are non-living creatures. Don't they have this kind of pain or trauma when they go through all these things? So when she filed a petition and a kind of judgment was given by the court that in future even municipalities cannot kill them. They can catch them, sterilize them and then again release them then and there. तो जहां से पकड़ के लाते वहीं छोड़ेंगे उनको दोबारा. दोस्त है ना उनके वहां पे. This is it. क्यों? फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी है. एंड यू कैन ऑल्सो नॉट डू दैट. इट इज अ, ये भी देखो आप, नॉट ओनली इट विल गाइड द लॉ मेकिंग प्रोसेस. कौन सा लॉ बनाना है, कौन सा नहीं बनाना है. नॉट ओनली फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी विल गाइड दिस, फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी विल ऑल्सो हेल्प whom? Yes, fundamental duties will also help judiciary to interpret the law or action of people. आप ये देखो, for example, I dropped a dog from the 4th floor of my house. Case went in the court. Now my defense counsel will say, sir, there is no law which says that this is illegal. कहाँ लिखा है आप बताओ. In that case, judiciary might be helpless. Because ऐसा तो कानून कहीं नहीं है कि you cannot drop. Example there, though it is a law. In that case, judiciary will see that there is a fundamental duty which says a citizen of this country, he should show compassion towards living creature. And when he is doing this act, he is doing it just for the sake of it. It's the most uncivilized act which anybody can do. So he will be punished even if there may not be a law existing. Interpretation of the existing law might be taken in such a way that he can be punished. Fundamental duty को इस तरह से वो देखेंगे. So judiciary will also take help of fundamental duties in deciding a particular issue or action which as per the law may not be explicitly a crime but implicitly a crime. What all should be the limits on fundamental rights can also be decided by judiciary. आप ये देखो, for example, again this article 19 clause 1 clause A is freedom to speech and expression. But what is right to freedom of movement? अरे उस दिन बताया था ना तरीका. One is you want to speak, then you assemble, then you form a association, then you move. D था ना 19(1)D. ये क्या है? This is right to free movement. आप कहीं भी जा सकते हो. Now Supreme Court got a case that people are going into the Jarawas areas, inhabited areas, जहां Jarawa tribe रहती है, लोग वहां जा रहे हैं, and they are distributing food and asking them to dance. Now this right तो है, चलो ठीक है, and nowhere explicitly in the fundamental right topic it is given that you cannot go to these areas. कहीं mention थोड़ी ना है कि you cannot go to Andaman in the areas of Jarawas. But in this case, Supreme Court will say that वो आपसे एक सवाल करेगा. Tell me one thing. Are you not aware that it is your fundamental duties to preserve the rich heritage of India, rich culture of India, and the lifestyle of tribals? Is it not part of culture of India? ये तो है ही. But tribal way of living is part of culture of India. And when you go into that area and you disturb their way of life, are you not yourself ignoring your fundamental duty? आपकी duty थी that you should have preserved the culture of India, which you did not by entering, first of all, by entering into the area inhabited by a primitive tribe. चलो चले भी गए. You should not have given food to them. चलो दिया. Third thing is you asked them to dance. चलो dance भी कर दिया. Then you videograph that also, and then you send it to your friends. वो भी तो गलत है ना. You are actually hurting the rich culture heritage of India. You went to a monument. You wrote something. उस पे कुछ लिख दिया, आपने नाम लिख दिया. Judiciary will take a tough stance against you even if there is no law explicitly to punish you, because then judiciary will tell you, are you not aware that this is your fundamental duty to protect the monuments, but then you are damaging it? Judiciary will also take decisions keeping in mind fundamental duty. ये इसकी importance है. A problem is that some people can see negativity in everything. वो ये भी बोलने लगे, why did you actually want to bring fundamental duties? They were already, people were made aware of their duties when you said your rights have been complemented by your responsibilities. Fundamental rights में तो लिखा हुआ है that you have these rights, but the rights are limited and there is condition on the right. You cannot exercise your right explicitly all the time. Absolute नहीं है. तो फिर इसकी क्या जरूरत थी? Moreover, they will again ask, how many people are aware of fundamental duties? तो क्या फायदा इसको रखने का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर? And to some extent they are right also. If you actually want to serve the purpose of an action, that action should be presented that way. Fundamental duties, do you actually see these advertisements coming on TV? No. Just mentioning them in constitution will not serve the purpose. Give publicity also to these duties so that children, not only children, adults also remain aware of it. और उसके लिए मीडिया की हेल्प लेनी चाहिए. Civil society must also participate in making people aware of their duties towards state. आप इजराइल को लेके देखो. In Israel, if you see, those people are very much committed towards the cause of their community and country. It is said, I don't know actually to what extent this is true. Once I met a person who was from Israel. He came here in India and he told me that in Israel, everybody needs to have a particular level of arms training. Secondly, once they attain a particular age, they are supposed to move around the world and understand those areas. And he was in India that time with a map of India, and he was doing a perfect study of these places, everything, the culture of India, the geography of India, and other aspects, even something related to defense. He was studying so that whatever he learns, he can give as an input to his country. And he was doing it so seriously. Nobody was watching him. but he was doing on his own. Responsibility, sense of responsibility hai sir. So if you want this purpose to be served by fundamental duties, first tell people कि ये आपकी duty है sir. Do not write your name on the wall of a monument. Do not enter into an area which can actually disturb the ecology of the area. Do not use the ecology in such a way that you use it, your children cannot. Future में. But then again counter argument भी आएगा. माना that people are not aware. Agreed that they are not serving the purpose for which they were intended. But still they have other purpose. Like judiciary can use them for judicial interpretation. Government can use them as a guide to make the law. यार this is the duty of people and people are ignoring it. Let's make it a law. Completely इसको law में convert कर देते हैं. So not only DPSP is guiding the government in making law, to some extent these FDs are also directing. Getting this, sir? Right now. Are these fundamental duties enforceable in the court of law? These fundamental duties are not enforceable in the court of law. Means if you did not fulfill your fundamental duty, nobody else can put you to jail, or you cannot be dragged to court. But then remember this thing, do not feel that since it is not enforceable, I can do anything. Judiciary cannot be prevented from having an open interpretation of your action. वो बोल देगा no, this is your blatant violation of your fundamental duties and you should be given a punishment. तब आप ये नहीं बोल पाओगे no sir, I read that it is not enforceable. Judiciary can interpret these things. Write down. Though Constitution does not carry the provision for direct enforcement of these duties, Parliament can enforce them. Parliament can enforce them by bringing a suitable law Which law? Any example? National Flag Act, National Anthem Act. What else? Right to education bolo na. Right to education, is it not your fundamental right? Yes. Fundamental duties are non-justiciable. Fundamental duties are non-justiciable, matlab non-enforceable, non-justiciable, but their inclusion in the Constitution brings an awareness about people's role in strengthening democracy. However, just a mention, सिर्फ लिख देने से कुछ नहीं होगा, just a mention in the Constitution will not serve the intended purpose. Unless an awareness is created among people through media and civil society, besides the value system in the society, must also change. Which cause people to put their interest, to put their individual interest over nation's interest. Right to information in which sense? Yes, that can be done, but then see, when you actually make education compulsory, is it not actually promoting a kind of spirit of inquiry? Only when I'm educated, I will inquire. Otherwise, this spirit will die down after some time. See, why I am not saying, because RTI, we have discussed in Article 19(1)(a) that RTI has been made an act because there is a freedom of speech and expression which cannot be exercised unless you have the access to information. Yes, you can write down. I mean, if you want to derive, if you see, there is no law which is contravention to fundamental duties. आप देखो सारे कानून इसी की, it is in consonance with it because the purpose is same. You can say that, but then do not, that may be a distant kind of relation. See, what we are going to do here is polity and governance. Okay? And I'll try to take both the things simultaneously because you cannot separate them. Polity का मतलब ये है the topics which we will do where facts will be more important. For example, what all are the fundamental rights? उसको रट्टा लगाओ and then apply them on the question paper, particularly prelims, the way you did in the morning. आज सुबह आपने टेस्ट लिखा ना, whatever you learned, you applied that in various situations. They did not give you questions, they gave you situations. Governance is something where a broad discussion will be held. You have to draw the content from the discussion and then relate that what is going on street regarding to that content. For example, I discuss what is civil services. Now what is coming in newspaper regarding civil services is to be understood, analyzed and then write in mains. This is more important for mains. This is more important for prelims as well as in mains. You can get around 2-3 questions on governance, directly or indirectly. Matlab you can expect at least 25 to 35 marks paper coming from governance. Okay, do not underestimate it. Last year, this topic, the question did not come, role of civil services in democracy. So this year, or if not this year, next year it is certain that you can get a question from this particular topic, role of civil services in democracy. Very interesting topic. And now I am sure that many people will understand that many information which you had in your mind was actually a kind of myth only, or it was wrong. काफी सारी चीजें यहाँ साफ हो जाएंगी सर. साफ मतलब clarity. Okay. Now see this. I tell you a very small story. काफी दिन से dictation ले रहे हैं, सुनो आज सिर्फ. If possible, you maintain 2 registers, a governance, a polity. If not, then at least you can start from the back side of your same copy, but then maintain the difference. ये governance है, वो polity. Later on, you can club them together. ठीक है? राजा कृष्णदेव राय, you know him very well. जानते हो ना आपने? Which empire? विजयनगरम एम्पायर के ये राजा थे. Very famous king. Now once happened that in his court came a very prominent painter. एक पेंटर साहब आए इनकी कोर्ट में. Do not write, just listen. Whatever is to be written, I'll tell you. इनके कोर्ट में आए कौन? पेंटर. and that painter was very proficient and prominent, बहुत famous भी था वो. And he came, when the painter came to the court of Raja Krishnadevaya, what did he do? अरे पेंटर तो पेंटिंग ही करेगा, इसमें सोचने की बात ही नहीं है. He made a painting of the king. उनका एक पोर्ट्रेट बनाया. And the portrait was so beautiful. After seeing the portrait, the king went mad. There is a better word. King went gaga. Gaga means khush. He became very happy, beyond control. Itna khush ho gaya. He went gaga and he said to the painter, what? मांग लो, whatever you want, you ask me and I'll give today. जो मर्जी मांगो वो दूंगा. What do you think, sir? Painter asked for? बताओ. Gold, kingdom सीधा. क्या सर? नौकरी मांगी होगी. यार कुछ नौकरी से ऊपर भी सोचो. क्वीन नहीं यार. You you could have said king's daughter, but queen को मांगने का मतलब क्या? Well, the painter said, sir, I have everything and I do not require anything. I just need your blessings. सिर्फ आपका आशीर्वाद चाहिए. Utter lie, झूठ था वैसे तो. But then he said so. The king said, no, my blessings are with you, but I'll definitely give you something. कुछ तो देख ही रहूंगा. And you know what the king gave to that painter in return? Huh? Kingdom से भी precious, sir. He gave him something more precious and critical than kingdom, gold, or few things said by them. Is this? This painter was made Mahamantri by the king in one stroke. Mahamantri means? Prime Minister is Pradhan Mantri. Mahamantri means a kind of senior minister. A kind of person, as you call today, a cabinet secretary. Senior officer बना दिया इनको. This fellow was made a senior officer and today he was made Mahamantri. Next day he took charge. अगले दिन office संभाल लिया. And he was so lucky that that day itself people came running to his office. लोग चिल्लाते हुए आ गए, महामंत्री जी please save us, हमें बचाओ. Now he said, क्या हुआ? People said, sir, we don't have water, a single drop of water to irrigate the fields. Leave aside irrigating the fields. We are dying out of thirst. We are not having water to drink also. Now, painter, like any other artist, he was very good at heart and he said, no problem, I'll give you a solution. People said quietly, sir, what solution? He said, after thinking for some time, he said, see, don't you see a fountain running in the palace? यहाँ फवारा चल रहा है. You bring buckets, take as much water you can and irrigate the fields. What the big deal? और उसके बाद ताली भी दियो साथ वाले को. Thinking that he has given such a brilliant idea. Now tell me, sir, was this idea not brilliant? अरे सोचने की बात ही थी. Do not think so much. This idea was utterly a foolish idea or not? Can you take buckets and irrigate the fields using the water? No. अरे how many buckets will you bring? चलो, even if you have 100 buckets, you cannot carry them to the fields. तब तक पानी भी खत्म हो जाएगा. This was utterly a foolish idea. People were amazed. चलो, anyways, but they could not say anything because he was Mahamantri. Next day, again a problem, and he gave similar solutions. And on a regular basis, he was giving these kind of foolish, non-workable solutions. People were just now bugged, and they said, sir, they were actually a huge chaos in the administration, in the state. Now see, when this erupted in the state, chaos ho gaya. Who shall be held responsible for this chaos? King. King did not give the solution. Chalo, we agree. King can be held for the chaos which erupted. Raja की क्या गलती थी? बताओ. Yes. You said correctly, he appointed a wrong person for the right job. Wrong means what should have been the mode of appointment? कैसे करना चाहिए था? What should have been the ground of appointment here? Merit basis. He used the correct word, merit. Post of Mahamantri, very critical. You are making somebody sit in that post without testing his merit. He might be a very good painter, but he might not be a good एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, दोनों अलग अलग स्किल्स रिक्वायर्ड है ना. एक तो ये गलती की, ही डिड नॉट चेक द मेरिट ऑफ द पर्सन फॉर द जॉब. एक और गलती की, व्हाट वाज दैट? द हिंट वाज इन द स्टोरी इटसेल्फ. हाँ, वो दिस इज ना, ही डिड नॉट चेक द मेरिट. एक ही झटके में क्या नहीं किया सर? Training, excellent. Did I not tell you that today he became Mahamantri, next day he took charge in the office? कहाँ training ली? He did not take training. Now training is very vital or not? But by giving training to a monkey, can you not teach him to fly a plane? Yes or no, sir? बताओ. No, sir. No, no way. You cannot do so. Even if he will fly the plane, he will not be able to land. Fly तो चलो किसी तरह कर लेगा इधर उधर करके. But then landing is a tough task. तो फिर ट्रेनिंग के फायदा क्या है? व्हाट इज द बेनिफिट ऑफ गिविंग ट्रेनिंग इफ यू कैनॉट डू मिरेकल्स विद दैट? क्या फायदा है ट्रेन? देखो ये चीजें आएंगी, दे विल आस्क यू दीस थिंग्स. एंड अनलेस गवर्नेंस, पॉलिटी था ज्यादा रट्टा. गवर्नेंस इज मोर अबाउट थिंकिंग डाइवर्जेंटली. मोर पॉइंट्स यू कैन गिव, क्रिएटिव पॉइंट्स यू कैन गिव, मोर मार्क्स. एंड राइट टू द पॉइंट. डू नॉट बीट अराउंड द बुश. सीधी बात लिखो. If I say that training cannot do miracles, why for we train somebody who has come to become an officer? सर वो तब होगा जब आपके अंदर पोटेंशियल होगा. सी, he has this potential to sing. गलत तो अच्छा है. Then I will train him. Then he will perform much better than what he is doing right now. If you have the basic core with you, अगर आपके पास basic skill है, training can sharpen that skill. By training, we can polish that something. But then if you are lacking on the core element, then whatever training you will get, you will not be able to improve. Sachin Tendulkar, very good voice, no problem. But then if you train him to become a singer, then he may not be that successful singer because the core of singing is missing in him or not. Lata Mangeshkar, the other case, you give her training to play. The core is missing. वो टेम्परामेंट नहीं है ना प्ले करने का. ट्रेनिंग यहां पे फेल हो जाएगी. व्हाट आई मीन टू से इज दैट यू कैन ट्रेन समबडी ओनली इफ ही हैज द बेसिक कोर एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड्स द पर्टिकुलर थिंग एंड ऑल्सो टू सम एक्सटेंट इंटरेस्ट. सबको ट्रेन करा नहीं जा सकता. तो चलो, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ही डिड नॉट चेक द मेरिट. सेकेंडली ही शुड हैव ट्रेन्ड हिम. थोड़ा तो इंप्रूवमेंट होता उसके अंदर, वो भी नहीं किया. एंड द रिजल्ट वॉज इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू, केओस हो गया. नाउ डू यू थिंक दैट राजा कृष्णदेव वॉज अ फूल when he committed these two errors? If you read history, he was a great king. Then why did he commit these mistakes? Yes, emotional to ho hi gaya. And this was a mistake committed not only by him. All the big rulers of earlier times used to commit these mistakes. And this was a regular feature of earlier times. And the name is also given to such kind of administration. इस तरह के एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को एक नाम दिया जाता था, विच वॉज कॉल्ड एज दिस. It is only for reference I am using this word, otherwise nowhere you are required to write anything about it. इसके बारे में कुछ ज्यादा लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. It's only a reference point for comparison. ठीक है. अब ध्यान से सुनो. पैट्रिमोनियल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम्स. एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, यू नो नॉट व्हाट इज एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन? व्हाट इज एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन? व्हाट यू फील? यस, स्ट्रक्चर. एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इज एन अरेंजमेंट. ध्यान से सुनो. एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इज एन अरेंजमेंट बाय विच पीपल कम टुगेदर, दे पूल देयर रिसोर्सेस, दे पूल देयर टैलेंट टू अचीव अ कॉमन गोल. All of us are here. Is it not a kind of administration? And the aim is to get you through civil services. तो हम सब क्या कर रहे हैं? Are we not pooling our resources? You are listening, I am speaking. Aim तो common ही है. तो this is also kind of administration. तो administration which prevailed earlier in medieval times, including the times of Raja Krishnadeva Raya, was highly unscientific, based, as he said correctly, based on emotions. And the name was given patrimonial administrative system. Why patrimonial? And listen, That is just one of the name of the administrative system which prevailed earlier. इसके अलावा भी there were variations to this. We are not concerned with that. We are concerned with what prevails today. It is only for comparison I am writing this. Patrimonial मतलब you see this thing. Patronage से बना ये word. Patronage. You understand what is patronage? If I extend a kind of protection to you, अगर आपको मैं छत्र छाया देता हूं, if I extend a protection to you, then I am extending patronage over you. Earlier, if you were craftsman, आप बहुत बड़े singer थे, musician or a sculpture maker, then the king will offer you all the protection you wanted. The king will give you food, king will give you money, protection and post also. Patronage देता था वो आपको. And this was a common phenomena. Okay, इसके दो feature थे. You can write down these things. Patrimonial administrative system, highly unscientific, prevailed earlier, it is not now. इसमें क्या होता था? See, patrimonial administrative system was a kind of administration or governance. Because you people are beginner, so I will not use very complicated words. General words का use करूंगा मैं. Anybody from public administration here in this class who has gone through the coaching and all? कोई नहीं है. See this thing. Do not write, listen. Patrimonial administrative system एक ऐसा arrangement था by which it was a kind of governance setup by which if you were close to the authority, you were close to the king, अगर आप राजा के नजदीक हो या राजा has developed a liking for you, then you will be given any post, any position, even if you did not deserve it. Again, listen to this. Patrimonial administrative system was a kind of governance system. एक तरह की arranged governance था, एक government थी जिसमें if you means anyone, if you were close to the king or appointing authority, then the king or that authority would have given you any position you want, even if you were not having the basic merit to occupy the position. महामंत्री बना दिया आपको, आपके पास वो क्वालिफिकेशन तो थी नहीं उसके लिए भी. Secondly, you are not even trained for the job. Highly unscientific system था ये. Do you see this thing happening today, sir? Is it possible for you that even if you are close to the prime minister, you can clear civil services? Theoretically, no. सही है कि नहीं है? No matter how much close you are to the prime minister or the home minister, you cannot become IAS officer. Because today the governance setup, the government or the administrative system is highly scientific. Today people are in the system, they are officer after they prove their merit for the job. Now you will become IAS officer or IPS or whatever officer once you clear the civil services, and once you clear civil services means you have proved your merit for the job. आप fit हो इस job के लिए. ये contrast दिखा रहा हूं sir. Earlier this used to happen. Here no merit was checked of the person who is occupying the post. वो देखते भी नहीं थे कि उसमें वो qualification है भी कि नहीं है. Not only this, training was also not properly given. और देते भी थे तो it was not very much advanced training. Very meager training, and that too unscientific training. Training part was absent or very weak. आज का system लो. Once you clear civil services, will you not be trained, sir? They will train you for years. 2 years, 2.5 years. All round training. You will be even given the training in arms. ठीक है सर? So here training is very much emphasized. Third thing, if you can tell me, that will be a very good thing. Third difference between अर्लियर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम विच वॉज हाईली अनसाइंटिफिक, राजाओं के जमाने का, एंड टूडेज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम. एक डिफरेंस और है बहुत बड़ा. बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हो, वॉट एवर यूर सेइंग इज ट्रू, बट लॉ, यस, अर्लियर डिसीजंस वर टेकन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ किंग के मूड पे डिसीजन था ना. टुडे किंग इज वेरी हैप्पी, ही मेड यू महामंत्री. टुमारो ही इज वेरी अनहैप्पी, यू बिल्ड ताजमहल एंड ही रिवॉर्डेड यू विद एक्स. एक्स डीओ नहीं, एक्स मतलब कुल्हाड़ी. आपने ताजमहल बनाया, उन्होंने आपके हाथ कटवा दिए. मीन्स हाउ यू विल बी ट्रीटेड बाय द किंग और द अथॉरिटी यू डिड नॉट नो. Because earlier the king or the supreme authorities, they took decision on the basis of their mood, and rules were generally absent or they were ignored. Rules पे बेस नहीं था ये administrative system. Rules were ignored mostly, and the system was run on the mood of the higher authority mostly. Today, the whole administration is working as per rules. Fixed rules पे काम करते हैं. If as per the rules you are supposed to get a benefit from the state, state will give you. If as per the rules you are supposed to get punishment from the state, state will not spare you there also. सब रूल पे चल रहा है. अब tell me, if this was called as patrimonial administrative system, what is the name which we give to today's administrative system? Merit based is the feature. नाम क्या है? नाम. सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के अलावा भी है सर. साइंटिफिक इज अ फीचर. ब्यूरोक्रेसी, ब्यूरोक्रेटी तो बनना है ना. ब्यूरोक्रेसी. Today, thankfully, you have an administrative system called bureaucracy, which is highly scientific, where the people who are bureaucrats since they have proved their merit for the job. आज जो भी bureaucrat है, he is occupying an office because he has proved his merit for the job. Exam clear करके उसने prove कर दिया है that he deserves the post. Secondly, he is trained thoroughly for the job he is doing. ऐसा नहीं that painter is occupying a post of a police officer. No. Third thing, rules based working है. Whosoever the officer is, he is working as per the rules, not as per his mood. ठीक है sir? Now see, this is only a preliminary difference between the two. Now I'll tell you another case study by which you can understand the very basic difference between the two administrative systems. Have an open mind, do not constrain your thinking here. See, painter handle which problem? Problem क्या थी उसके सामने? Water. Water or drought was a problem which he was faced, and also poverty. People were poor because agriculture was not picking up. पानी नहीं होगा तो agriculture नहीं होगा और फिर गरीब हो जाएंगे लोग. ठीक है? Now see, painter handled the problem of water scarcity and poverty in his own way. The same problem how a bureaucrat handled. उसकी अप्रोच देखो. इशू वही है, प्रॉब्लम इज सेम बट अप्रोच इज डिफरेंट. दिस ब्यूरोक्रेट इज दिस. ही वॉज इन न्यूज 2 days बिफोर ऑल्सो, है ना. बट देन ही इज फेमस फॉर वन मोर थिंग. वाई एलेक्स पॉल मैनन केम इन टू न्यूज प्रोमिनेंटली? Yes, Alex Paul Manon, a young IAS officer, Chhattisgarh cadre, he got kidnapped by the Naxals in Chhattisgarh. इनको वो उठा के ले गए थे Naxals, and later on he was released also. So he came into limelight 3 years ago, very much in news. पूरा national news बन चुकी थी how he got released by negotiations. Okay, now see, this person is not only famous for getting abducted, He's also famous in that area for the good work he's putting on ground and his approach towards the problem of people. हुआ ये that he became the DM of one of the district of Chhattisgarh. Dhamtari district in Chhattisgarh, and there was a village in the district. I'll give you the case study. Online also you get some material, na? You have an online platform or not? So I'll ensure that this is uploaded there, the case study. Abhi zara suno. He was the DM of the district of Chhattisgarh, Dhamtari district, and within the district there is a village called as Chhindwadi village. In this village, there were only, small village, 75 families, 75 log rehte, families rehti thi. 75 families means how many people? 300, so you are taking 5 people for family. No, in village they have more. 350 to 400 people. But documentation yahi hai ki 75 families. Okay. Now, the problem was this, that all these 75 families living in that area, almost every family was below poverty line. बहुत गरीब थे ये लोग. He went there and he found why these people are so poor, why this village is so poor, and he decided I'll help them. He called a meeting of those people and he asked them, what is your problem? They said, sir, we are agriculturalists, हम सब किसान हैं, and we are already poor. Over to that, drought is hitting us. पानी नहीं है irrigation करने के लिए. Then he told them to do not worry, I'll give you a solution. And he gave them a solution. Using my skills in fine art, I'll tell you this. What is this? Hut. English hut. H-U-T. Okay. Hut. He told them that this, we see in the villages, even if you are poor, you might have land. Okay. Agriculturists के पास land होती है और उसी में they have their house. Hut. He told them, in your farmhouse where you are having hut, you do one thing, you dig 2 pits, 2 gadde banao. One, the bigger pit, other smaller pit. ये बनाओ. Fill the bigger pit with gravels. Gravels means concord. They did so. Now, do you know what he's trying to do with this thing? ये बड़े इसे गड्ढे से क्या कर रहा है? Yes, this is nothing but rainwater harvesting. Whenever it will rain, these people will have water to irrigate the fields. बारिश तो हो ही रही है. Once it is gone, the rains are over, water will get collected in the bigger pit. It will become like a pond itself. And why these gravels? These gravels will act like filter. Not only you can irrigate the fields, but you can also drink this water if you can take out the water by some arrangement. ये पत्थर डालने से सर, they act like a natural filter. तो पानी तो यहाँ पे जमा हो गया. Then he told them that not only a bigger pit, you also have a smaller pit. एक छोटा गड्ढा बनाओ. In this smaller pit, you put some organic waste. Organic waste. What is organic waste? Example? Yes. Cow dung तो खैर वो waste नहीं है because they use it as a fuel. But organic waste means your leftover food. जो बचा हुआ खाना होगा, if at all. Leftover food. Or for example, the tea leaves. Used tea leaves. Okay. इन सबको डालो इस छोटे गड्ढे में. Daily basis. Cover it properly. And he told them the exact technique. Then, you know what he's trying to do with the smaller pit? Fertilizer नहीं. Wormy compost. And somebody said correctly, manure. Manure is nothing but a natural fertilizer. ठीक है ना? So these people after few days will have manure. अब क्या हुआ? Water is available to them. Manure is available to them. That too free of cost. इसमें कोई कीमत भी नहीं है. Fertilizer comes at a cost. Then he told them the third thing, that on the periphery of your field, you start growing cash crops. Cash crop उगाने शुरू करो. Example of cash crop? Yes, cashew, kaju उगाओ. Now what is the benefit of growing cashew? बताओ सर, काजू खाने का फायदा क्या है? अरे सिंपल है. You eat them also. in the evening along with tea. शाम को चाय के साथ काजू खाओ. Secondly, you can make a drink out of it. फैनी बनती है ना काजू से. Enjoy it. But then the purpose beyond that is also there. If you have a considerable amount of cashew, you can sell that in the market. ये तो जमीन खाली पड़ी है ना. The periphery is always there. Don't you see the larger benefit? क्या है larger benefit? Erosion. Erosion will be prevented or not by these plants. Why you are going through geography or not right now? अभी उसमें आएगा later on. आगे periphery, when you have put plants, will they not act like a barrier to the erosion of the soil? उड़ ही नहीं पाएगी वो. The plants will hold them. They will act like shade also. So these benefits will come to you. Then next thing he told them that for the people who are interested in fishery, I will give you some fish seeds. Fish seeds means egg of fish, and you can get them in this pond, and you can have fishery also, which people actually started doing. मछली पालन शुरू किया उन्होंने. After 2 years, it was documented that with his effort, 85% of the families in the village, they came out of poverty. 2 साल में ही 85% families came out of poverty. Means earlier they were below poverty line, BPL status था, now it is above poverty line. Is it a small thing? Single person, if he is in a position to pull so many people out of poverty within 2 years, imagine the face of this country when all of you tomorrow become civil servant or a bureaucrat and you keep doing this work on ground. सब लोग अगर इस तरह से काम करें, will we have poverty in the remaining after 20 years of this country? No. This is the beauty of the working of a bureaucrat. Only a bureaucrat could have given such an approach to people. Why? Because that bureaucrat, क्यों? क्या खास बात है उसमें? Yes, because the bureaucrat is in office after proving his merit for the job. Alex Paul Manon deserved this kind of big responsible job, which he proved when he appeared for this examination. Secondly, he was trained thoroughly. आपको क्या लगता है? Did he develop a very new approach? No, it is a well-known approach. In fact, that he might have learned during his coaching days or during Masuri training. वही उन्होंने apply कर दिया बस. He did not actually invent, but then he used his training to help people. And he worked, of course, as per the rules. For example, he got the fish seeds, which as per the rules could have been provided to the people. He also gave them some monetary help. This is the way a bureaucrat works, not like the painter. जो मन में आया बोल दिया, कुछ भी solution दे दिया. No. This creates a difference of approach of a bureaucrat and somebody who was involved in patrimonial or unscientific administrative system. The bottom line is, bureaucracy is a kind of administrative approach or a kind of administration which is highly, highly scientific, whose performance is visible on ground. ये चीज है. Understand, sir? अब ये bureaucrat word I have dropped so many times. What is the meaning of the word bureaucracy? Let me tell you one more thing. That is this. Executive meaning, executive is a body which is there to implement the laws and policies, of course. वो implementation का काम करता है. Executive, two types. One is permanent executive. Permanent executive means civil servants or bureaucrats. You can take down few points if you feel they are very important. जैसे ये permanent executive मतलब bureaucrats, also called as they are elected or selected in the system? Selected. Temporary executive means ministers. Ministers, COM. वो है temporary. They come for a specific period, only small. 5 years or sometime before 5 years. उनका कोई फिक्स नहीं है. Till the time they are enjoying the confidence of the Lok Sabha, they will be in position. उसके बाद निकाल दिए जाएंगे. Whereas these people have fixed tenure in office, 20 years, 30 years or 35 years. These temporary executive or ministers, they are elected or selected? बहुत बढ़िया. They are elected. अब देखो, what is the difference between getting elected and selected? Election will get you through on the basis of your popularity. If I conduct an election and I am popular among you, then you will elect me. है कि नहीं है? Means if I am getting elected, I am getting elected because I am popular among you. But then if I am getting selected, selected का मतलब ये है, I am fulfilling certain conditions or qualification. Selection is done once I fulfill certain qualifications or criteria. For example, I clear civil services. For example, in one of these jobs, the condition is that somebody who has done double MA, somebody who has done MBA, and somebody having this much of experience can come as a person and occupy this office. So in that case also, I am proving my merit. Double MA भी किया है, MBA भी किया है, having this much of experience also, so that will actually prove my merit for the job. Anyways, selection or election में difference बताना था. Though I further as I move, because we have 3 classes, full 3 classes on this. So I'll keep on repeating these things, but do not forget this. Now, what is the definition of bureaucracy? Anyone? इसकी definition क्या है? Foundation बनाना बहुत जरूरी है, otherwise you cannot answer. So I am taking these differences and these definitions also. What is the definition or meaning or understanding you have regarding bureaucracy? देखो, whenever you define something, whenever you write some explanation about anything, first give a word which in a word can describe the whole thing. For example, I ask you what is Audi. क्या बोलोगे what is Audi? Audi is a car which is highly expensive but best performing also. ऐसे बोलोगे ना, वो है क्या, आप ये तो बताओ पहले. Bureaucracy is a car, it's a machine, it's an animal, or it's a spirit. What? It's a system. Very good. Bureaucracy is a system, or as somebody sometime back said, organization. एक structure है, a system है of, और इस system में कौन है? System में bureaucrats है, और bureaucrats कौन है खुद? Officials. Bureaucracy is a system or organization of, yes, meritorious means who have proved their merit. System of officers or officials who are in the system on the basis of their merit. And they are also full-time employee of government. They get salary from government. ये है bureaucracy की definition. And not, they are not elected, they are selected. ये कुछ keywords हैं. Using these keywords, I will define. देखो, if you are in a position to get the keywords, no, you just weave those keywords into simple English, that becomes a definition. कभी कभी ऐसा होता है. Once there was a question, what is smartphone? ये question आ गया. That time smartphone was launched. That time itself. Very easy, but equally difficult, sir. क्या है स्मार्टफोन? हाउ विल यू डिफाइन? मशीन, इट्स अ फोन. अब ये इजी भी है और डिफिकल्ट भी है ना आंसर करना. सो व्हेन यू हैव टू डिफाइन समथिंग, फर्स्ट राइट डाउन द की फीचर्स, उसके की पॉइंट्स क्या है, एंड देन जस्ट उसको यूज लैंग्वेज में डाल दो. ब्यूरोक्रेसी, दीज आर द फीचर्स. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, ब्यूरोक्रेसी इज अ सिस्टम. सेकेंडली, किसका बना हुआ है? कंपोज्ड ऑफ ऑफिसर्स हु आर सिलेक्टेड on the basis of their merit. वो सिस्टम में इसलिए है because they have proved their merit. and they are full-time employee. ये हो गई definition of bureaucracy. Write down. Bureaucracy. You can write only B. एक जर्नल बार बार इतना बड़ा वर्ड लिखोगे, स्पेलिंग भी गलत होगी और टाइम भी. Bureaucracy, though described differently, there is no common definition of bureaucracy. This is you are writing right now. Described differently by different scholars. Some giving it a negative connotation. Negative connotation means negative reference or negative meaning. ये बड़ी खराब चीज है. Some giving it a negative connotation, oblique meaning, but some means some scholars. Who said that bureaucracy is the best form of administration system? Max Weber. Very good, sir. And who was Max Weber himself? Yes, he was a German sociologist. Max Weber नाम था उनका. However, it was Max Weber. Some scholars like Max Weber highlighted bureaucracy as the most efficient and scientific administrative system. Most efficient and scientific administrative system. इससे अच्छा system हो ही नहीं सकता. Paragraph change. Broadly, I am saying broadly because there is no universal definition. Broadly, we can define bureaucracy as a system or organization of officials. Organization means structure. System or organization of officials who are selected. Please double underline the word selected. Who are selected. Make a brackets after selected and not elected, so that you remember this. Who are selected, make a brackets after that and not elected, brackets closed. On the basis of very good, on the basis of their merit और expertise, expert है वो उस काम की, और expertise for the job, and they work, please keep reading what you're writing, and they work according to set of scientifically developed clearly defined rules and principles. I hope you understand the definition. सर पांडे जी को जानते हो ना आप? हाँ, चुलबुल बुलबुल नहीं, दबंग वाले नहीं है ये. Recall the times when you used to watch TV. ऑफिस बहुत बढ़िया, इनको याद आ गया. ऑफिस में थे ये. एंड व्हाट वाज द कैरेक्टर प्लेड बाय पांडे जी जनरली? ऑफन कॉमन मैन नहीं बनते थे. ही वॉज वेरी पावरफुल मैन. ही यूज्ड टू मोस्टली प्ले द कैरेक्टर ऑफ अ पियोन. ज्यादातर पांडे जी चपड़ासी का रोल करते थे. नो प्रॉब्लम विद दैट. नाउ आई पुट अ क्वेश्चन. If you have understood the definition of bureaucracy, sir, will Pandey ji be a bureaucrat? ध्यान से सोच के जवाब देना, डू नॉट जस्ट जंप ऑन द आंसर. पांडे जी ब्यूरोक्रेट हैं क्या? My question is Pandeji, who has been taken as peon by us? I mean, there may be few Pandejis here also, but nothing is to be taken personally. Okay, ये office वाले हैं. Peon, Pandeji, will he be considered a bureaucrat? This is my question. हाँ जी बोलो, why not? आपत्ति क्या है अगर हम इन्हें ब्यूरोक्रेट बोलते हैं तो? He is not bureaucrat. Why he is not a bureaucrat? This is my question. Because he is not, he has not been trained. Any other objection in his being bureaucrat? He is not? तो क्या हो गया ऑल इंडिया नहीं है तो? Not an officer. Any other objection in Pandeji not being Pandeji being a bureaucrat? Pandeji is not working according to rules. Any other objection is not a bureaucrat?
Specific procedure which has been assigned for the specific role of like
मतलब he is not working as per rules ना?
obviously if he is a peon, he might have not cleared the
अच्छा यूपीएससी क्लियर नहीं किया, मीन्स ही हैज नॉट. अरे ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम विद दैट. मीन्स ही हैज नॉट प्रूव्ड हिज. चलो ठीक है, लेट्स फोकस ऑन दीज 4 पॉइंट्स ओनली बिकॉज दीज 4 पॉइंट्स आर मोस्ट क्रिटिकल ऑल्सो. नाउ लेट्स टेक हिज केस फर्स्ट. You can contend that Pandeji has not proved his merit for the job. ये बात लगती भी है हमको, because we are preparing for civil services IAS and he is just a peon. He seems to be having no merit. ऐसा लगता भी है. Justified or not? हाँ, nowadays I don't know if you know this or not. Even PhD scholars are appearing for this examination. Very tough. और मजे की बात ये, they are failing also in this exam. I myself know a person who actually cleared civil services, but he once failed an exam which was of this level. तो डर के मारे मैंने तो पेपर कभी दिया ही नहीं. But then the people who cleared this exam, they have proved their merit for the job or not. भाई पियोन का भी तो एग्जाम होता है, and only the people who clear it they become a peon. And there also they require some qualification. Sometimes they put the qualification as 12th pass, but then mostly they put 10th pass. अब आप 10th pass में ले लो. For example, I ask you this question: what is the difference between a quadratic and a linear equation? Confusion हो गई ना? पांडे जी must be knowing this, क्योंकि तो 9th में पढ़ाते हैं. So he has been in the system because he has proved his merit for being a peon once he cleared this examination for peon. ये है merit वाला point quashed. ठीक है सर? सर theory लग गई इसके ऊपर. अब है trained. Somebody said Pandey is not a bureaucrat because he is not trained, and a bureaucrat should have been trained. Agreed. But then he is trained. Let me tell you. मिनिमम ट्रेनिंग इनको भी मिलती है. 2 weeks और 13 days ट्रेनिंग इज गिवन टू देम. ये पॉइंट भी क्वेश्चन. ही इज नॉट वर्किंग एज पर द रूल्स. नाउ दिस इज अ कॉमन परसेप्शन वी डेवलप व्हेन वी सी टू मच ऑफ टीवी और फिल्म्स, बिकॉज इन दीज थिंग्स दे शो हिम जस्ट टू बी वॉयलेटिंग द रूल्स. हिज ओनली जॉब इज टू वॉयलेट द रूल्स. पांडे जी इधर आओ, ये काम कर दो. ही विल से नहीं मैं नहीं करता, अभी मूड नहीं है, बाद में करूंगा. मींस एज इफ इट अपीयर्स दैट ही इज वन जॉब ओनली टू ब्रेक द रूल्स, बट ऐसा है नहीं इन रियलिटी. If you work in any company or government job, you will see the first person who comes to office is he, and he is the last person to leave the office, and he maintains the dignity within the office. File इधर से उधर सब हो जाती है. File, he is managing the file system. Which file is to be put at which desk is known well to him, may not be known to the officer. कहाँ कौन सी फाइल रखनी है, how has to manage the office is known to him. He is working as per the rules. ये पॉइंट भी खत्म. नाउ दिस इज मोस्ट क्रिटिकल पॉइंट. Somebody said पांडे जी तो ऑफिसर ही नहीं है. How he can become bureaucrat? Bureaucrat तो बाद में बनेगा, वो पहले ऑफिसर ही नहीं है. Now tell me, पांडे जी ऑफिसर है कि नहीं है? What is the definition of being an officer? मतलब definition छोड़ो, what is the meaning? Yes, if you hold an office, you become an officer. And what is the meaning of holding an office? He is not. अच्छा मतलब he is not into cabin, he sits outside the cabin. ये बात भी सही है. How can Pandey ji be an officer? Because he sits outside the office, not in the office. सर सही बात है. He doesn't take the decision. अच्छा पांडे जी के पास अथॉरिटी. नाउ दिस बिकम्स अ वैलिड पॉइंट. बिल्कुल सही बोला सर आपने. डिसीजन देखो इन्होंने बोला ही इज ऑल्सो राइट दैट सिंस पांडे जी हैविंग नो पावर टू टेक डिसीजन और ही हैज नो अथॉरिटी, ही कैन नॉट बी कॉल्ड एन ऑफिसर. यू एग्री विद दिस पॉइंट दैट पांडे जी इज नॉट हैविंग अथॉरिटी? हैव यू एवर गॉन टू मीट द डीएम ऑफ योर एरिया? कभी गए हो आप? Let me tell you, the bigger tension is not whether DM will give time to you or not. The biggest tension is that whether the peon will allow you to enter inside or not. वो ज़्यादा बड़ी tension होती है. In fact, you become more humble in front of peon than you are in front of DM. Right or wrong? Because he has the authority to stop you from entering inside. ये उसकी responsibility है to maintain decorum inside the office. And if somebody just straight away enters inside the office, is it not violative of the decorum? Yes. So he will prevent you, even if required by physical force. तो authority तो है ही उसके पास. And let me tell you, if you are called an officer, you require two things to fulfill. दो चीजें जरूरी हैं. And if you have these two things, you are officer. क्या है वो चीजें? One is, yes, very good. One is area of responsibility. आपके पास एक defined responsibility होनी चाहिए. And then not only responsibility, you must also have some authority. Because without authority, you cannot fulfill the responsibility. अब आप ये देख लो पांडे जी, is he not having responsibility? Responsibility है उसके पास. To maintain the decorum inside the office. And not only this, file management. Which file is to be placed where is his responsibility? It's a very big thing, let me tell you. और उसके पास authority है. Authority तो यही है ना, I gave him 10 files. कहां कौन सी फाइल रखनी है is known well to him and he is using authority. Discretion नहीं है, authority है. Whosoever is having these two things, he is an officer. अब आप IAS officer को ले लो. He is also officer because he has responsibility and he has authority. That is a different thing, that IAS officer responsibilities and authorities are much bigger, much larger, much critical than his responsibility and authority. But ये दो चीजें तो उसके पास भी है ना. Even a peon is having these two things. So he is what? Officer. Officer है वो. Even a peon can be seen as an officer. And since he is an officer, he is selected after proving his merit through this exam. He works as per the rules. He becomes a bureaucrat. Do not think that only you, once you cleared UPSC, will become bureaucrat. Even he is a bureaucrat. ठीक है सर? बोलो सर. हाँ? ग्रेड वेरिएट छोड़ो सर, अभी आप पहले थ्योरी समझो. And let me tell you this also first. This, they will never ask you what is the salary structure of a peon, what is the salary structure of a particular civil servant. इस चीज को पढ़ना भी मत. If you get any book or any notes in which these things have been given, ये pay structure है, this is the pay band, these are the rules regarding to the, no need. They will ask you analytical question or something that relates with current affairs. वो ये नहीं बोलेंगे write about the whole 7th pay commission. What are the basic increments given to peon or given to class 1 officer? वो ये नहीं पूछेंगे आपसे. Okay. Nobody knows actually. इतना बड़ा, there are so many rules. You are not expected to know even a bit of that. Up, the next thing comes is, see, till now I was telling you some technical things. Now let me tell you in the most simple language. Listen very carefully. सरकार के सारे सरकारी कर्मचारी taken together forms bureaucracy. Take all the full-time government officers, any level, beyond to highest level. You take all the officers of government, any level, club them together, and what you get is bureaucracy. Sare, all the government servant taken together, full-time government servant, let me tell you, not part-time. All the full-time government servant taken together forms a body which is called as bureaucracy. And it is the bureaucracy which is running this country. Administration को चला कौन रहा actually? Bureaucracy. Two main jobs of bureaucracy. इसको भी अभी समझ लो. Bureaucracy के दो main काम है. If you see, when I was discussing executive, I put permanent executive below temporary executive. Because this is the way Indian democracy is designed. यहाँ पे है मंत्री जी, minister. Can a minister actually manage three things at a time? Three means portfolio. Can he manage? बड़ा मुश्किल है. But people are managing. In this government itself, ministers are managing 2 or 3 portfolios. And even some ministers are there who are managing very critical portfolio, even if they are not that qualified to hold the portfolio. Huh? How are they managing that? Yes. Till yesterday I was a big actor. Today I am a minister. How will I know what is the implication or what were the details of earlier national education policy? मुझे क्या पता? Who will tell me? Bureaucrat. Minister को assist करने के लिए, to assist a minister, there is a whole team of bureaucrats. What to do, what not to do, how to do is told to the minister by the bureaucrat. However, minister will own the responsibility of the advice of the minister. अब वो advice उसने जो दे दी, मैडम ये कर दो, मैडम ने कर दिया. Now tomorrow if that action is called in question, then bureaucrat तो बच जाएगा. Who will be axed? Minister. What I mean to say is that minister is guided by the bureaucrat, but then minister takes the blame of the failure of this particular bureaucrat. Otherwise उसे खुद तो कुछ पता नहीं है. He requires the help of bureaucrats. Bureaucrats guide the minister. ये पहला मेजर काम है bureaucrats का. Second is, first था guide करना minister को. The second work of bureaucrats or executive, temporary, permanent executive is whatever laws has been made by parliament or any other body which has the law making power, those laws are to be implemented. And who will implement it? Bureaucrats. जैसे कि पुलिस, income tax officers, they are all bureaucrats or not? They are implementing the various laws. Income tax officers are implementing the Income Tax Act. Police, they are implementing various other laws. है कि नहीं है? Implementing the laws made by the legislature is the work of executive, and that is permanent executive, bureaucrat. Bureaucrat के दो मेजर काम है. First, to guide the minister how to work, where to work, when to work, what to do, what not to do. Second work of the bureaucrat is to implement the laws made by parliament in various form. If I am a Pandeyji and I am a bureaucrat, am I implementing a law? Yes. But even if I am assisting my officer in his work, I am actually a part of implementing body or not? Understanding, sir? ये दो मेजर काम है. Now see, as I told you, bureaucracy is nothing but the collection of all the full-time government officers. अगर मुझे divide करना पड़े, if I have to divide the bureaucracy into major parts, how many parts I can divide the bureaucracy into? अगर मोटे parts में इसको divide करना पड़े, कितने part बनेंगे? Only person from PubAd must be knowing this. So I don't expect an answer if you do not have that knowledge. 4 classes. What are these? What are they? नहीं बोलो. No, 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 no. I'm not asking the gradation. If I say officers who are full-time government officers can be classified into categories, what will be those broad categories? ये मेरा सवाल है आपसे. और defense. Very good. Though this is not the precise answer, but then this is the right approach. See, and this division is not done by me or any other person. Scholars in this field have done, and this is not done by government also. So there might be an ambiguity regarding the division. You can contest, but then you have to agree. No other choice. Broadly, all the government officers or servants can be classified in three categories. Either they will be civil servant, or they will be armed forces officers, or they will be judicial officers. बता रहा हूं. ठीक है सर? Understand this? Police is actually, if you see, police is put as a part of civil servant. Though some people contest this, why you call them civil servants? They are actually part of armed forces. But if you see in India, not every aspect of policing involves armory. There is a part of policing which involves investigation also. There is a part of policing which is involved in welfaric activity also. Okay, so therefore we have put them as part of civil services. Anyways, that was a mature discussion which I will take maybe tomorrow or sometime later in this class. अभी इतना ही समझो आप. All the government officers can either be put in the category of being a civil servant, or they are armed forces official or judicial officer. अब आपसे मैं क्वेश्चन करता हूं. Tell me this thing. Colonel in army, will he be a bureaucrat? Yes. Colonel साहब यहां बैठेंगे. सर जवान को जानते हो ना आप? Will he be a bureaucrat? देखा एकदम नो बोला. Why he will not be a bureaucrat? He is not officer. हाँ. तो एक मिनट. If he is not guarding the border is official work or it is the domestic work? जवान ही बोलते हैं इसलिए मैंने जवान लिखा है. सोल्जर, द लोएस्ट लेवल सोल्जर. अरे ये आप ये लो. व्हेन पांडे जी कैन बी ब्यूरोक्रेट, व्हाई कैन ही नॉट बी ब्यूरोक्रेट? लेवल उसी पे तो आ रहे. एंट्री लेवल सोल्जर विल आल्सो बी कॉल्ड अ ब्यूरोक्रेट बिकॉज ही इज ऑफिसर. भाई उसके पास भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है और अथॉरिटी है. जवान, द सोल्जर इज हैविंग रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू गार्ड द बॉर्डर एंड ही हैज अथॉरिटी टू फायर. तो ऑफिसर तो है ही वो. एंड ही हैज प्रूव्ड हिज मेरिट फॉर द जॉब. फिजिकल मेरिट, मेंटल मेरिट तो प्रूव किया उसने भी. ही वर्क्स एज पर द रूल. गोली कब चलानी है इज डिसाइडेड बाय रूल और नॉट. तो ही इज फॉलोइंग द रूल्स. सो ही इज ऑल्सो काइंड ऑफ ब्यूरोक्रेट. जज फॉर एग्जाम्पल, will he not be a kind of bureaucrat? Yes, because he is in the system after clearing the exam. Judicial service clear करके घुसे थे और meeting various criteria, even if not judicial service, and he works according to rules. अब it is easy to tell who all will be part of armed forces or who all will be part of judicial machinery. Catch is here. Civil servant कौन है? Who will decide who is a civil servant? Or what can be the parameter to say what or who all are civil servants? देखो अभी आज क्लियर कर लेना. Let me tell you, this is a critical topic. Critical in the sense it appears to be very easy, but when your basic concepts are flawed, हाउ विल यू राइट अ गुड आंसर? वो आपसे पूछ रहे हैं राइट अबाउट ब्यूरोक्रेसी एंड यू आर कंफ्यूज कि यार ब्यूरोक्रेसी है क्या. यू राइट ओनली अबाउट आईएएस आईएएस आईएएस. आईएएस आईएएस नहीं, आईएएस आईएएस. ठीक है. बताओ व्हाट इज और हु इज अ सिविल सर्वेंट?
Custodial manager of particular department.
Custodial manager of
Custodial manager of particular like given area plus given department and head of that department.
if he is not a head he will not be a civil servant.
Not a head manager.
If he is not a manager, he will not be a civil servant. Member of the parliament can never be a civil servant.
Member of parliament, member of that department. particular.
अच्छा, member of parliament sir आप बताओ मुझे, MP will he be a bureaucrat or not? No, because MP is elected, he is not selected. पहली बात. And he is not in the system because of his merit, he is in the system because of his popularity. उसको bureaucrat मत बोलना. Okay. सर बताओ what is or who is a civil servant? Are they not involved in decision making process? ये भी तो है भाई यार, ये भी तो डिसीजन है. when to fire, पैलेट गन ऊपर चलानी है नीचे चलानी है, that kind of decision. हाँ, पर्सन हु सर्विंग कंट्री, who who is serving the country better than these people? हाँ sir, work for civil society. And what is civil society sir? Are they not working for civil society? भाई सोचो आप, they are also working for civil society or not? I'll take a separate class on civil society, don't worry. हाँ बताओ. They are also actively engaged with civil society sir. Even they are. देखो, sometime it is also true when you do not know anything, you should say something which is very basic. For example, I asked you what is night. अब it is very difficult to say what is night. Then you say something which is not a day is night. और ये यहां पे भी लॉजिक लगेगा. अपनी कन्वीनियंस के हिसाब से we design things. See this thing. देखो बिल्कुल सही, बहुत बढ़िया सर, यही तो बोलना था, तब से चुप क्यों थे? अब रात दिन के बाद समझ में आया. सी ही इज राइट, ये बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हैं. ही सेड दिस, इन्होंने ये बोला दैट इफ दिस इज एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ द कंट्री, इट इज अ कलेक्शन ऑफ ऑफिसर्स. सम ऑफिसर्स आर इन्वॉल्व इन आर्म्ड फोर्सेस मैनेजमेंट, वो आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के अंदर इन्वॉल्व है. Some officers are involved in judicial functions. Whatever remains is called as civil administration. ये है, देखो पूरा एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है. One part of the administration is involved in armed functions. Other part of the administration is involved in judicial functions, justice देने में. Whatever remains as part of administration is civil administration. And if you are an officer or if you are a member of civil administration, you are a civil servant. Now example of civil administration, कोई भी एक example, sir आप बताओ, one example of civil administration. अरे civil administration यार, officer नहीं, administration. डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ, बहुत बढ़िया, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ रेवेन्यू. डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ रेवेन्यू, इज इट इन्वॉल्व इन आर्म्ड फंक्शंस? नो. इज इट इन्वॉल्व इन जुडिशियल फंक्शन? नो. जो फंक्शन है सिविल में ही है. सो इफ डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ रेवेन्यू इज सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड यू आर वर्किंग एज एन ऑफिसर इन रेवेन्यू डिपार्टमेंट, यू आर अ सिविल सर्वेंट. अनदर एग्जाम्पल ऑफ सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, रेलवे. रेलवे सिविल है कि नहीं है? रेलवे इज पार्ट ऑफ सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड इफ यू आर एन ऑफिसर इन रेलवेज, यू आर सिविल सर्वेंट. सर एक और एग्जांपल दो सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का. फॉरेस्ट, एविएशन, agriculture, health, education, women and child development, international relations, space exploration, planning, infrastructure, home ministry, all these are part of civil administration. क्योंकि इनका function, their function is not armed function or judicial function. And if you are an officer working in any of these departments which is covered in civil administration, then you are qualified to be called a civil servant at any level. सर क्लियर है? हाँ, अभी मैं वही पूछने वाला हूं. Doctor who is working in a government dispensary, will he be a civil servant or not? Yes, because health is civil administration and you are part of health department, तो आप क्या हुए? Civil servant. You are a doctor and you are practicing privately. Will you be a civil servant then? No, because then you are not paid by government, पहली बात तो, and you are not a full-time employee of government. इसके लिए ये होना भी जरूरी है. You need to be paid by government and you need to be full-time officer. Private नहीं चलेंगे. पब्लिक तो है ही. बता रहा हूं रुको. If you are an officer in law ministry, then if you are an officer in law ministry, will you be a civil servant or a bureaucrat? Bureaucrat or both? Officer working in law ministry, will he be a civil servant or he will be in this judicial official category? Civil servant. Because the work of law ministry is not to give justice. The work of the law ministry is to help in making the law. Civil function hai. Law, helping the law making is a civil function. And if you are working as an officer in law ministry, you are a civil servant because law ministry itself is a civil administration. Judicial नहीं है वो. सर ये सवाल तो मुझे आपसे पूछना चाहिए. Civil servant. She asked, a government doctor, will he be a civil servant or a bureaucrat? He will be a civil servant because he is working in the health department, he is paid by government and is a full-time employee. Private wala nahi chalega. Okay. Now my next question is that, for example, Pandeyji sir is working in health ministry at that level only peon. Now will he be a civil servant? Yes. अभी बताया मैंने आपको. पांडे जी, a peon working in the civil administration, he will be a civil servant. IAS officer working in the civil administration, he will also be a civil servant. हाँ बोलो सर. Very good sir. This is true. But then there are the siblings of civil servants na, who are not civil servant. They are bureaucrat. No, I never said that. यही तो मैंने बोला नहीं. Yes. वो fully true है ना, but the other way around is not fully true. In fact, that is wrong. Civil servant will be a bureaucrat, but every bureaucrat will not be a civil servant because he might be from this part of the administration or from this. So for this reason, we have brought this distinction. हाँ. These two what? हाँ, these two what? अरे बोलो यार, खुल के बोलो, शर्माओ मत. यस, बिल्कुल सही बात है. सुनो मेरी बात. हाँ. मदर गेव बर्थ टू 3 चिल्ड्रन, ट्रिपलेट हुए एक साथ ही. नाउ शैल नॉट वी नेम देम, ये ऐसे छोड़ दे उन्हें कि आफ्टर ऑल दे आर द सबसेट ऑफ मदर. व्हाट इज द लॉजिक ऑफ डिफरेंशिएटिंग अमंग देम? यू टेल मी योरसेल्फ. शुड नॉट वी, सुनो यहीं से तो शुरू हुई है कहानी, शुड नॉट वी डिफरेंशिएट अमंग देम फर्स्ट, एंड देन दिस डिफरेंशिएशन will define their relation with mother or not? हाँ, but then if he is a bureaucrat, he may not be a civil servant. तो उसके लिए तो समझना जरूरी है ना डिफरेंस. अच्छा कोई, अरे 2 लाइन ही तो गई है लिख लो. सर आपको समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? हाँ जी सर. ये यार, ये जब तक उसके हाथ में बंदूक नहीं है ना, ही इज अ सिविल सर्वेंट, बिकॉज डिफेंस मिनिस्ट्री इज नॉट आर्म्ड फोर्सेस. ITBP, if you are an officer in ITBP, then you will be part of armed forces. And as I told you when I started this discussion, that these things might have some overlappings, where we cannot clearly segregate one person from other in all the cases. For example, a doctor working in ITBP, whether he will be a bureaucrat or a civil servant, it cannot be said. He can be seen because basically he is involved in civil administration. But when combat forces, he can become or he can take this role also. So it is, I started this discussion with this thing only, that there might be overlapping in some jobs. ठीक है ना? Write down the definition of civil servant. लिखो. Though civil servant is seen as synonymous with bureaucrat, or you can also write those civil services is seen as synonymous with bureaucracy. Both the words are correct. दोनों वर्ड डालो. Civil servants oblique civil services, bureaucrat oblique bureaucracy, comma, civil services is defined as a body of professionals, comma, full-time officials, employed to handle the civil affairs, brackets, after civil affairs make a brackets, non-military non-judicial, civil का मतलब है ये, civil affairs brackets non-military non-judicial bracket close, civil affairs of a state in a political capacity or non-political capacity? Both नहीं, non-political. Yes. What is the difference between political and non-political? Yes, elected and selected. Politicians are elected. They are not in a non-political capacity. ठीक है सर? Their salaries are paid out of state or state's fund. This is not state government. This is the state governance. Salaries paid out of state's fund. आप ये देखो, for example, if I am a person who belongs to an NGO and I am working after sitting in Home Ministry for the last 1 year, will I be a civil servant now? Why to? I'm a part of the machinery. I'm working for the Home Ministry. Will I be a civil servant now? No, because my salary is coming from my NGO. I'm just facilitating the government in my work. ठीक है ना? हाँ जी सर.
Sir, if there is a judicial body set up for the crimes committed by the
Bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. Function तो judicial है ना उसका.
judge working there will be
Yes, yes, yes. Heading very critical and important. इस पे क्वेश्चन आया था लास्ट ईयर. क्वेश्चन हैज कम ऑन दिस. 2-3 topics were combined together and question was formed. Basic design. Basic भी लिख लो. Basic design. Basic design of civil services of India. Basic design of civil services of India. Draw the diagram, very easy diagram, not found in any book and self-explanatory. Diagram देख के सब समझ में आ जाएगा. Civil services of India can be grouped into 3 categories. कोई भी civil services ले लो. The civil services of India can be broadly classified in 3 categories. First is central services, second all India services, third state civil services. ये 3 category है. Okay. For some time let me add this plus also. Understood this? पूरी civil services जो है ना इंडिया की, it can be classified into 3 groups. If you are a civil servant, either you will be a central services officer, or you will be all India services officer, or you will be state civil services officer. इसके बाहर नहीं है, broadly. How many all India services are there? 3. Indian? Jungle, Indian forest service. What is the other name I can give to all India services? Anybody? इनको एक और नाम से भी जाना जाता है for the reason of their structuring. cadre based services. See, last to last year the question came on cadre based services, their problems. So many people did not know ये cadre based service है ही क्या. Cadre based services, if the question is on cadre based services, means he is asking you about all India services. ये याद रखना. Done. Now see, IAS, IPS, Forest, Group A, B, C, D. Group A. All the three services are termed as Group A services. ये सिर्फ Group A है. There is no division Group A, B, C, D. That is present in other two services. ठीक है सर? ये Group A सर्विस है. Now let's start. If you feel like writing something, you can write, but then try to understand what I'm saying. Be very alert and be very open-minded now. देखो, all India services means I am talking about cadre-based services. Cadre का मतलब क्या है? Cadre means an area of working. एक zone है working का, right? Now people here in this class are coming from different states. Some are coming from Maharashtra, some from Andhra, Kerala, Haryana, UP, Bihar. सब जगह से हैं. But once you clear civil services and you get this job, IAS or IPS or forest, there is a separate exam. You get this job, then you will not only get the job, you will also get a cadre. IAS बनने के बाद आपको एक कैडर भी देंगे. वो कैडर मीन्स यू विल बी गिवन एन एरिया ऑफ वर्किंग. एक स्टेट दे देंगे आपको. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ शी इज कमिंग फ्रॉम दिल्ली, शी विल बी गिवन अ कैडर पंजाब. देन शी विल बी IAS ऑफिसर. विच कैडर? पंजाब कैडर. तभी तो बोला कैडर बेस्ड सर्विस. इफ ही इज फ्रॉम यूपी, ही माइट गेट अ कैडर महाराष्ट्र, एंड देन ही विल बी कॉल्ड एज IPS कैडर महाराष्ट्र. ही इज कमिंग फ्रॉम यूपी, मगर काम ही कहां करेंगे? महाराष्ट्र में. थर्ड पर्सन, ही क्लियर्स फॉरेस्ट सर्विसेज, ही इज फ्रॉम बंगाल एंड ही गॉट अ कैडर आंध्रा, देन ही विल गो टू आंध्रा. सबको एक स्टेट एलोकेट होगा. दैट स्टेट विल बी योर कैडर विच विल गेट स्टक टू यू ऑल थ्रू योर लाइफ. कैडर चेंज भी होता है, बट देन we are not supposed to go into those nitty-gritties. उससे कोई लेने देना नहीं है. तो I'll discuss in between. अभी सिर्फ सुनो सर. हाँ बताओ. अरे वो बता रहा हूं अभी. Let me just tell. ये है तीनों कैडर बेस्ड सर्विस. कैडर मीन्स यू विल बी गिवन अ स्टेट ऑफ वर्किंग. हाउ इट इज डिसाइडेड दैट विल बी डिस्कस लेटर. वो है पेरिफेरल एस्पेक्ट. अभी आप कोर पे फोकस करो. You see this diagram. When I made the diagram, all India services, I related that with union government as well as I related them with state government. Means all India services are under dual control. इसको याद रखने के लिए ऐसे भी बनाया जा सकता है. Who is union government? Mother. And who is state government, sir? Wife. कितनी जल्दी बोला? Wife. Dual control. Once you become this, you come under the control of two different entities. And you have to serve whom? Both. Mother और wife मत बोलना. Both. Understand this, sir? और यही reality है all India services की. And this is the biggest dilemma in front of them. To serve whom with a larger heart. ये आएगा आगे जाके. Day after tomorrow we'll discuss this only. What is the problem of cadre based services? एक problem ये भी है. ते double control है, तो whom to serve more? Sometimes there is a tussle between these two. Then you have to take sides or not. तो किसकी साइड ले? किसकी? यूनियन की. अब सुनो. द डे यू क्लियर ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज मीन्स यू बिकम IAS, IPS or forest officer, you will be given a cadre. Cadre मिलने के बाद you are supposed to work under two governments. You are supposed to work under either the state government of your cadre or under union government. Of course, one at a time. कैडर मिलने के बाद आप काम करोगे या तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के नीचे या फिर यूनियन गवर्नमेंट के नीचे, बट वन एट अ टाइम. अंडरस्टैंड दिस? I'll take a specific example and I'll tell you. For example, see, he clears this examination और ये सीधा बने IAS. He got पंजाब कैडर. He is basically from UP, मगर कैडर कौन सा मिला इनको? पंजाब. And he got into this service. Now remember this, since he has got Punjab cadre, now he must now forget that he is from UP. अब दो ही चीज याद रहनी चाहिए सर. क्या? पंजाब और दिल्ली. दिल्ली मीन सेंटर. By union government is sitting in Delhi or not? सारे यही है. So he should only remember two things. पंजाब दिल्ली, दिल्ली पंजाब, पंजाब दिल्ली, दिल्ली पंजाब. कोई तीसरी चीज याद नहीं रहनी चाहिए अब आपको. Reason being, once he will get a cadre, he will be through his training. ट्रेनिंग खत्म करने के बाद he will join his cadre Punjab. In Punjab he will work under Punjab government. देखो डबल, तभी तो डबल बनाया मैंने. He will work under Punjab government in Punjab as SDM. शुरू में तो SDM बनोगे ना, एकदम थोड़ा DM बनोगे. So he will work under Punjab government in Punjab as SDM of a particular area. After working there for 3-4 years, he will be called back by union. यूनियन इनको वापस बुला लेगा. नाउ यू सर्व अस. बहुत दिन सर्व किया स्टेट को. यू सर्व अस. नाउ अगेन फॉर 3-4 years he will serve the union government in one of the ministries. Let's say he will get posted in home ministry as under secretary. तो जब ये होम मिनिस्ट्री में काम करेंगे as under secretary in Delhi, he is serving whom? Union government. After working as under secretary in home ministry or whatever ministry under union government, he will again go back to Punjab, because cadre Punjab है ना. He will again go back to Punjab. He will work now as a higher level officer in Punjab under Punjab government. Under means Punjab government will have power to take action against him. वो punish कर सकती है इनको. Now he will work there for 4-5 years. Again he will come back and work under union government in Delhi. After working here in one of the ministries or a wing of union government, he will again come back to Punjab. And this way, all through his service, he will either be working under Punjab government in Punjab or under union government in Delhi. दो ही जगह पे काम करेंगे. Because his cadre was Punjab. इसे कहते हैं cadre based system. The same thing is true for IPS. The same thing is true for forest officer. Now tell me one thing. If a Punjab, can a Punjab cadre officer serve Tripura? Yes, he can serve, but not generally. Only when there is, ऐसा भी कभी कभी होता है that one state is having deficit of officers. वहां officers कम है. Then in that case, some officers, for example, Maharashtra might be having sufficient officers right now, but Tripura is having some scarcity of officers. उनके पास कम है. Or there is no officer who is qualified enough to occupy the top position in Tripura administration. इतना senior कोई है ही नहीं वहां पे. Then they will write a request to union government that please supply us with 2-3 officers who has this specific qualification. उतनी seniority वाले officer दे दो हमको. Then union government might pick some officers from Punjab or Maharashtra or wherever there is availability. उनको उठा के कहां डाल देंगे? त्रिपुरा. Deputation पे. This is deputation. But that's only an exception. Generally, if you are a cadre-based officer, you will work either under the state government in the state or you will work under union government in Delhi. दो ही जगह आप काम करोगे. ये है cadre-based system. Whether you are IS, IPS or forest officer. अब cadre कैसे change होता है and all these things is not required at all at this stage. कितनी salary मिलती है? Not required at all. Next, this is done. Central services क्या चीज है? You are appearing for civil services, no? 2017. Will you be appearing for central services or all India services? Both. दोनों के लिए. भाई इफ दे गिव यू इंडियन रेवेन्यू सर्विस, भगवान ना करे अगर मिलती है, विल यू डिनाई? नो नो मुझे नहीं चाहिए, आप वो भी ले लोगे, है कि नहीं है सर? रेवेन्यू सर्विस ये है, देखो, when you appear for this UPSC civil services examination, you are not only appearing for all India services, you are also appearing for central services. That is a different thing that you may say that I'll just take IAS, IPS, I reject other job options. Some people do that also. But then I'm talking about general, not exception. See, what are the services? इनको छोड़कर, you take any service in UPSC examination, that will be part of central services. जैसे कि मैं आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछता हूं, इंडियन इंजीनियरिंग सर्विस, इज इट अ सेंट्रल सर्विस और ऑल इंडिया सर्विस? पक्का? अच्छा, ये इंडियन स्टैटिस्टिकल सर्विस, विल इट बी सेंट्रल और ऑल इंडिया? हाँ जी, आप बताओ. नॉट ऑल इंडिया. नो नीड टू गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. ओनली 3 सर्विसेज आर ऑल इंडिया. रेस्ट आर आइदर सेंट्रल सर्विसेज और स्टेट. तो whether it is Indian engineering service, Indian statistical service or Indian economic service, कुछ भी है, that will be under central services, because the exam is conducted by union body and the officers will work under the control of only union. I'll take specific example. For example, you clear this UPSC examination 2017 and you get Indian Revenue Service, IRS, or you get Indian Audit and Account Service, or you get what? Indian Railway Traffic Service, IRTS, वो भी बड़ी अच्छी है. Indian Foreign Service, very good. All India or Central? Indian Foreign Service, Indian Postal Service, Indian Civil Account Service, Indian Defense Account Service, Indian Defense Estate Service, ये सर्विस वो सर्विस, all these will be covered under central services, but they will be called as Group A officer. They are senior officers, Group A officers. Understanding this or not? Exam common हो सकता है, but depending on your merit or the rank, you will get different service. If your rank is relatively lower, you might get Indian Revenue Service or you might get any of these services. Then you have become part of Central Civil Services, of course Group A. ये क्लियर है सर? बट माई ड्रीम वॉज टू बिकम ग्रुप बी ऑफिसर सेंट्रल सर्विसेज. मेरा ड्रीम तो ये था बनने का. हाउ विल आई रियलाइज माई ड्रीम? बोलो क्या करूं? एसएससी. यूपीएससी का छोटा भाई एसएससी. भाई दिस एग्जाम इज कंडक्टेड बाय यूपीएससी. ग्रुप ए ऑफिसर्स का एग्जाम कौन कराता है? यूपीएससी. ग्रुप बी एंड सी एग्जाम इज कंडक्टेड बाय एसएससी. जनरली एसएससी करवाता है एग्जाम. एंड ग्रुप बी का मतलब क्या है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने सुना होगा असिस्टेंट ऑफिसर, सुना है ना आपने? असिस्टेंट इज नथिंग बट ग्रुप बी ऑफिसर. आपने एग्जाम क्लियर किया, यू अपियर्ड फॉर एन एग्जाम फॉर असिस्टेंट कंडक्टेड बाय एसएससी और आपने क्लियर भी कर लिया. मींस नाउ यू विल वर्क अंडर यूनियन गवर्नमेंट ओनली एज असिस्टेंट इन एनी ऑफ द मिनिस्ट्रीज, चाहे वो हेल्थ मिनिस्ट्री है और होम मिनिस्ट्री और डिफेंस मिनिस्ट्री और व्हाटएवर. अंडरस्टूड दिस? मगर रहोगे तो आप सेंट्रल सर्विस में ही ना. एंड यू आर वर्किंग एट ग्रुप ए लेवल, बी लेवल, सी लेवल और डी लेवल. किसी भी लेवल पे काम करो. डी लेवल इज नथिंग बट पांडे जी, ये पियोन लेवल है. डी लेवल, ओके. यू वर्क एट एनी लेवल, यू विल स्टिल बी पार्ट ऑफ सेंट्रल सिविल सर्विसेज. Getting this or not? Even if you are not IRS officer, even if you are not Indian Postal Officer, even if you are not Indian Audit and Account Officer, you are a simple Group C. क्या है? Group C is clerk, clerical. Somebody had this dream that one day I will serve the union government only as LDC. ये उसका सपना था. तो what he can do? SSC का एग्जाम दो. एसएससी स्पेसिफिकली कंडक्ट करते हैं एग्जाम फॉर असिस्टेंट्स, फॉर क्लर्क्स. तो आप क्लर्क एग्जाम दो, यू क्लियर दैट, एंड वंस यू क्लियर इट देन यू आर ग्रुप सी ऑफिसर सेंट्रल सिविल सर्विसेज. एंड ग्रुप डी एम्प्लॉयमेंट एक्सचेंज के थ्रू भी यू कैन एंटर एज अ पियोन. अंडरस्टूड दिस? But these officers, the basic thing is that these officers, central officers, they will not get cadre. वो सिर्फ यूनियन के अंडर में काम करेंगे. Their reporting will not be dual. यहां इनकी रिपोर्टिंग किसको रहेगी? सिर्फ ये कैसे हैं? They are like mother. Only one service. याद रखने के लिए है ये, because I have seen that many people forget when it is taught in a simple way. समझ रहे हो सर? Now after this, third thing is this. स्टेट सिविल सर्विस क्या चीज है? पीसीएस बोलते हैं ना हम लोग. यूपी पीसीएस का एग्जाम है, कुछ पढ़ा है? एमपी पीसीएस, दिस पीसीएस, दैट पीसीएस. नाउ सी, इट इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी that you are, let's say, from Maharashtra and you want to remain in Maharashtra only all through your life. आप चाहते ही नहीं कहीं बाहर जाना, and you wanted to serve only Maharashtra government. How can you realize this dream? Yes, you appear for Maharashtra PCS exam or state service exam. These services exam, जिसको state civil services बोलते हैं, these services exams are conducted generally by the state only. Every state is conducting this exam on its own. West Bengal Civil Services exam is conducted by West Bengal government. UP Civil Services exam is conducted by UP. And like way. Though in some cases they can request UPSC also that you please conduct exam for us. For example, some time back it actually happened that Punjab and Haryana, the body which used to conduct the exam for the civil services, जैसे यहाँ UPSC है, at state level also there is a body. Because of their honest working and corruption-free environment, both the bodies were dissolved. इतना जबरदस्त करप्शन था, दोनों को डिसॉल्व कर दिया. सेंटर पैसे दो और एग्जाम क्लियर करो. दिस वाज अ काइंड ऑफ ट्रेंड व्हिच वाज गोइंग ऑन. बोथ वर डिसॉल्व्ड. In that case, still you need people in the service or not? From where they will come? Exam will be conducted, but exam will be conducted by UPSC for Haryana and Punjab only, because till the time a new body is formed. But generally, these exams are conducted by the respective states. Now, depending on what kind of exam you are appearing for example, you cleared PCS exam with a good rank, आप सीधा SDM लगे, then you have become Group A officer, State Civil Services. Maharashtra organized examination for SDM, PCS, Maharashtra PCS. You cleared that with a good rank. You have become Group A officer, Maharashtra Civil Services. Maharashtra government came out with the exam for assistants. You cleared that. You have become Group B officer, Maharashtra Civil Services. Maharashtra government brought out an exam for clerks. You cleared that. Then you have become Group C officer, Maharashtra Civil Services, and this way. Understand this? And these officers also, ये जो state civil services वाले हैं, they will serve only whom? The respective state. If you are officer from Maharashtra Civil Services, all through your life, you will be serving only Maharashtra government. You will be working under the control of Maharashtra government. These officers can be dismissed by whom? Center or state? State. Because recruitment state ने की थी. State can suspend these officers, state can dismiss, state can transfer. These officers, they can be dismissed and suspended by union government. अब बात आती है इनकी. If you are IS, IPS or forest officer, for example, your cadre is Odisha. Will Odisha government, आप Odisha IS हो, Odisha cadre IS officer, will Odisha government be able to dismiss you from job? Can Odisha government suspend you? Yes. If you are Odisha cadre IS officer, then Odisha government at best, maximum can suspend you. Transfer भी कर सकती है आपका. But that government cannot dismiss you from job. Durga Shakti Nagpal, you have heard that name or not? She is a lady, she is a IS officer, UP cadre. She got suspended by Akhilesh Yadav government, but he could not dismiss her. Reason? She was from All India Services, and All India Services officers can at best be suspended by the respective state government. They cannot be dismissed because appointment was done by union, so only union can dismiss them, and that too after inquiry. In these three cases, in which cases, sir, did you see dual control taking place? They are under double control of state government as well as center. बाकी सब में single control है. Now my question is that, for example, you cleared sir, आप बताओ group A exam IRS बन गए आप, मतलब Central Civil Services. Can you have an office in Tamil Nadu? Yes. Yes. Even if he is an IRS officer, means he is a group A officer, Central Civil Services, who is supposed to work only under the center, he can have an office in Tamil Nadu, but still he will not be under the control of Tamil Nadu government. Office Tamil Nadu में हो सकता है, but Tamil Nadu government will not have any power over him. He cannot be suspended by Tamil Nadu. Unlike this case, IAS senior तो लगते हैं, हाँ IAS officer is the best officer, but then do you see their life? They are always in a fear that I might get suspended by the state or I might get dismissed by the center. यहाँ कम से कम एक ही डर है कि नहीं है? Bachelor, married. ऐसे याद रखना इस चीज को. Because last year a question came. What are the problems with cadre-based system? This was actually the crux of the question. So you should have told dual-based control is also a hindrance in their work. यार वो तो बाद की बात है. You understand the basic design or not? सब बात आज ही जान लोगे तो कल क्या पढ़ोगे? लिखो, the civil services in India. Civil services in India can be grouped. I hope you have drawn the diagram, very critical diagram. Can be grouped into three broad categories. The services, first, the services whose members serve both the union and the state governments. Union and the state governments are termed as, उनको कहा जाता है what? बहुत बढ़िया, all India services. They are appointed by center. But they work in the respective cadre state under the respective state governments. And also under center and also under center's control. Brackets dual control, DUL, dual control, double control. Next is services whose members serve only union government are called as central civil services. These officers are appointed by center trained by them and wherever they work in India their reporting is only to union. Very good. Is only to union government. State government has no disciplinary control over them. Third, state civil services. Respective state governments have their own group of services, whose officers are appointed and trained by the state government, and they work under the exclusive control of the state government, of the respective state government. Can center dismiss them from job? No. The posts in state civil services and central services are hierarchically arranged from group D to group A. And the last heading, though I'll take up this tomorrow only, not now. But see, if the question comes, write the characteristics of bureaucracy in India, answer will be same as the answer will be for write the characteristics for civil services in India. Answer वही होगा. Whether he is asking you what the features of bureaucracy or civil services, answer will be same. Because approach of both working is same. Whether he is saying write the features of bureaucracy in India or write the features of bureaucracy generally also, then answer will not be grossly different. Few points will be here and there. Mostly, bureaucracy has common features across India, across the world. ठीक है sir? And who was a scholar who studied bureaucracy in depth? Max Weber. देखो होता क्या था? As it's not that only Max Weber saw the bureaucratic system for the first time. Bureaucracy, bureau का मतलब क्या है? Bureau means desk. ये वर्ड आया कहां से? ब्यूरोक्रेसी. ब्यूरो मीन्स डेस्क. ब्यूरो का मतलब है डेस्क. Earlier, what used to happen, for example, I am king. I will make the law myself, with of course 1 or 2 people with me. I will implement the law with 1 or 2 people with me, and I will also give justice. तो ये होता क्या था? I was overburdened. All the work was done by me. Moreover, I was not trained for the work also. So my performance was falling down. Slowly in France, the system emerged in which the work was divided at different levels. For example, if a dam is to be built, one desk मतलब एक office, one desk will pass the money. One desk, money pass होने के बाद वो file आगे जाएगी. Other desk, of course, occupied by an officer. He will look into the design of the particular dam. Then it will move further. The third officer will see how many people will benefit from it. The fourth officer will pass the amount. So इस तरह से the whole work got divided at the different level. है कि नहीं है? इसे from here only started the system of bureaucracy. It was seen to be a scientific system. But is it not scientific when you divide the whole work at different levels, and at each level everyone is doing a specific job only? For example, finance department is taking care of only finances. The designs department is taking care of the design of the dam. काम बटा हुआ है. This was supposed to be a very scientific system. But when it started to work in France, it was seen that these people who were occupying the desk or office or officers or bureaucrats, they started to feel that we are the rulers. उनके अंदर एक घमंड आ गया, arrogance, and slowly they become corrupt also. So mostly whenever they discuss about bureaucracy, they developed a sense of repulse. बेकार है यार ये bureaucracy क्या है? They are very arrogant and they are very corrupt also. But then Max Weber was a German sociologist who was studying the type of administrative systems which prevailed across India, across the world. एक administrative system था bureaucracy. Other kinds of administrative system was patrimonial administrative system, and there were number of others also. तो मैक्स वेबर ने सबको स्टडी किया. मैक्स वेबर स्टडीड पैट्रिमोनियल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम, मैक्स वेबर स्टडीड ब्यूरोक्रेसी, मैक्स वेबर स्टडीड एवरी अदर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम विच प्रिवेल्ड. हर तरह के एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को उन्होंने स्टडी किया और ये बताया, एंड ही कंक्लूडेड दैट यू टेक एनी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन सिस्टम, you take help of any administrative design, the only system which is scientific and best is bureaucracy. हजार प्रॉब्लम है उसके अंदर, 1000 problems are there, they are corrupt, they are arrogant, agreed, but still they are the best among all. आप पैट्रिमोनियल को ले लो. Did not you find problems with patrimonial system? Painter was made a महामंत्री having no merit also. गलत है कि नहीं है सर? So he was the first person who said the features of bureaucracy are such which makes it the best form of administration across the globe, across time. Understand this? And what are the features? We'll discuss tomorrow. दो लाइन लिख लो इसमें, बस दो लाइन. Max Weber was the first scholar to understand the true potential or usefulness potential or usefulness of the system of administration called bureaucracy, since it had the following features: which were missing in other